The Dent Slayer, Matt Boyette. Thank you so much for being here.
She's smooth, boy. She's smooth.
So back in 2015, that was my first year. I went to Australia to do hail, and we were in Brisbane, and we stayed right at the base of the Story Bridge, which is a pretty famous bridge. There's a lot of people that commit suicide off that bridge. So there was a couple people that tried while we were there. I got photos of them standing. They would shut off the whole bridge, and they get over the rail, and ambulance and rescue would come and shut the lanes off so people couldn't traffic, and then talk the guy off. But it's a pretty common area, and it's because the river is shallow there. It's not that it's the highest bridge. I mean, you could really survive jumping off the bridge, but it's shallow, and what happens is people jump off and they
hit the ground.
No, they get stuck in the mud, and then they can't.
That's horrible.
They can't swim up, and I think
that's
there's
horrible.
I think there's
way
some
to
sharks
die.
in there, so then you just become.
Oh my goodness!
So it's a common place that people jump and die. Anyhow, that's not my story. My story is that's where we stayed, is right there, like the first condos right next to the Story Bridge, and we go on the balcony. It was beautiful. And Brisbane, it's not really it's kind of on the coast, but there's not like nice beaches in Brisbane. You got to drive out a ways because it's mainly like a shipping area.
Yep.
If you just go, yeah, and so you really want to go either south to like Byron or some other really cool beaches, or you go north, and then there's a lot of waterfalls and kind of jungle stuff, hikes, and so anytime if I wasn't working on the weekends, we'd always drive to go do something. It wasn't like Sydney where you can just take a ferry and you're there. You got to drive, and so we drove to this waterfall area. I want to say it's about a 2-hour drive to this just amazing rainforest waterfall area, and we'd have the wife and the kids, and everyone was there, and go jump off cliffs, and really cool time. Spend the whole day out there. And we did this one time, and we did it like every weekend. We'd go do something like that. But this one weekend, we do it, spend the whole day. It's amazing. We come back, and we don't have a key to our room. And it's a physical key, and we can't get in the room. And we're like, oh my gosh, like we must have left it somehow at the waterfall. And they had told us at the condo when you signed the agreement, because we'd rent it like for a month at a time. So when you sign the agreement, they tell you if you lose your key, it's a big fee to replace it because it gets you in the building too. And so it's not just about your room. It's about they got to change
security
locks for the whole building, and it's kind of a big deal. So I thought it was $300. My wife said it was $1,000 to to get a new key or to have it changed. So anyhow, we lose the key. We get back, and it's late. And I got to be at work. I got to be up at 5 to be at work at 6, the next day. It was like on a Sunday. And so I can't get in the room. I'm like, what do we do? And I'm like, I'm going to call and get a new key made. Like it's like, it was dark. I don't remember what time it was, but it was dark. And I'm like, I just want to get my room to go to bed. I got to get up at 5. She's like, we got to drive back down there. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm not driving back down. There's no way we're going to find a key at night. Like, it's like, we're still going to be back here and have to deal with this, right? Like, it's a total waste of time. She's like, well, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And so obviously that means I've got it. And I got in that thing, and I drove, and I was just mad the whole way, just driving down to get this key. And I'm just like, so proud in my heart. We're not going to find this thing.
Way.
There's no way we're finding this key. Can't wait to prove her wrong. And I was just had this total chip attitude on my shoulder of like, there's no way we're going to find this key. We get down there, and the park was still open. Like, it wasn't like a
Right.
where they close it off. You can still access the parking area.
Yep.
And we pull up, and all the cars were gone. And I'm thinking, even if we did drop it, someone probably grabbed it and picked it up. Like, it's not going to be laying there wherever it was, on a trail or who knows, right? And so we had headlamps, and we go, and right where we parked, keys sitting right on the ground.
No way.
Right on the ground. I mean, I guess.
Is it on a key ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, like the typical hotel
No way.
key ring, gold key with a little thing on it. And it's laying right there on the ground. And I'm like, that doesn't even make sense that it's here. Like, somebody would have seen this key and grabbed it. Because it had like a neon tag on it, you know, and it's sitting right in a parking lot. Like, somebody would have grabbed this thing. There's no way that this is just sitting here. It's unbelievable to me. We walk up, and it's right there, and I'm just, dang it. You know,
Did you thank God, or were you mad that you were
well,
wrong?
I would say probably both, because you know you had this attitude of there's no way that this worked out like this, but you're also like, thank God that, you know, but that whole drive home was really awkward.
That's what I was going to ask.
Because you're just like, you're this forced humility that you have to swallow the whole way home. And that was my wife's intuition. And I won't tell the story now. There's another time where my wife's intuition was 100% right and I was 100% wrong, and I kicked against it the whole time. So I've learned over time to trust her intuition more and more, because, hey, and again, it was about 2 hours down to get this key and 2 hours back, so it wasn't like it was an easy thing. And then I'm still
crazy.
You know, so there was a lot of that driving, talking time about it, and me having to deal with my emotions about it. But yeah, I learned a hard lesson that day of
Brisbane.
Yeah.
Wow.
What, a wristband?
No, that was
Brisbane.
Brisbane. Yeah, Brisbane. Yeah,
Wow.
Brisbane.
Left the mark.
Left the mark. 2015. Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. Kelly won't either.
Crazy
Did
story.
she
Good ending.
coach you on bring it? Do
Yeah, I
that
had
story?
another story I was going to say.
She said that one was better.
She's like, "Why don't you tell this one?" Of course you want me to tell
That's
this.
good.
This is kind of biblical, because women have more faith sometimes than men, you know, and sometimes we gotta listen and follow.
100%.
So today's guest is the owner of El Padrino Dent Legend in San Antonio, Texas. And I've been practicing this. Let's see how I do. El Hijo del Padrino, Jonathan Balderrama.
Muy bien.
How'd I do?
Muy bien.
Okay.
Muy bien. 5 stars.
Okay.
Felicitaciones. Thank you.
What's that mean? That means thank you.
Sí, muchas gracias.
De nada.
El Hijo del Padrino. Wow. Thank you for the introduction, guys. I still can't believe I'm here. And the Dent Slayer. El asesino de los golpes.
That sounds really good.
It does.
This place is mind-blowing.
Thank you. Thank
Really
you.
nice. And you can sense the level, you know, and the commitment and the quality. And it's just, I'm in good company. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So real quick, who are you? For our guests who have no idea who you are or who your dad is.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Balderrama. My middle name is Scott.
Scott.
Sometimes I forget.
Wow.
Because growing up in Argentina, nobody used to call me Scott or Scotty. Yeah, I'm a PDR guy, technician, PDR technician, husband, father, son, and yeah, a grateful believer in the Lord, and that's who I am.
Where's your business out of?
It's in San Antonio,
San Antonio.
Texas.
And what do you do there mostly? Hail damage?
Yes. Well, we started thinking and doing everything, but now we're more focused in hail. Something that we were talking even yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to focus on one thing. But I try not to say no to big dents and stuff like that, because that's kind of like when I started. And going back to Argentina, part of the story, people in Argentina won't bring you, if you don't live in the city, won't bring you a car for a little tiny dent. It will be something significant that you will be like, oh, okay. You got to think about it. You got to like, yeah. And, seeing my dad, he's resting with the Lord right now. He passed in March 23rd of this year. Probably most of you guys know, and I'm super grateful for all the people, the technicians, the commodity came around me and just support me and love me, and all my family. But he gave me so much, his brain, his actions, his examples, and his attitude, his commitment. That's one thing I can say about my dad. He was committed, determined, loyal, just one of a kind. So here I am, grateful, and we're in San Antonio. We moved 3 years ago from Florida to San Antonio.
So what is your dad most known for someone who has no idea?
Lito, the founder of Dent Wizard. Yeah, the founder of Dent Wizard back in, I would say the beginnings of the 90s. Yeah, that's the pioneer of the industry here in the United States, pretty much. He trained so many people, which they still with us. Rick Hammer, Tom Price. I can mention a big list, but those are the ones that come in my head right now, which they're like family to me as well. And yeah, it's wow, I can't believe it. He moved to the States in 86
From
Argentina.
From Argentina?
From Argentina. So we stood there because I was in elementary, and he started coming back and forth. He didn't really move, but he was like 6 months here at the beginning, then less time trying to be more at home, 3 months, but he was building something that we didn't even know by that time. We would just thought that he was working, pretty much.
So before we get deep into that, you brought us some stuff.
I did.
You brought us some gifts.
Hey,
and we have no idea what it is.
Can't come empty-handed, man.
Okay.
No. So,
Let's see what you got.
Looks heavy.
this one is for Matt.
Okay.
And this one is for James.
Okay.
My favorite number is 3, so I brought 3 gifts
Okay.
for you guys.
Handed us
Tres a la
big
vez.
bags, heavy bags.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pull it out.
you can.
Wow. Look at this. In recognition and appreciation of your service to our great nation in the Marine Corps, we salute you, Sergeant James Ricci. Wow. Home of the free because of the brave, Deuteronomy 8:18 from the Balderrama family. Wow, dude, that's awesome. Thank you. And it's got a picture of me while I was serving in Iraq.
That's cool.
Giving the shaka. That's awesome.
We need to hang that up there behind you somewhere.
Yes, dude. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
man. That's really
You're welcome.
cool.
Thank you for your service,
Wow.
my brother.
Thank you.
I took the picture out of Facebook.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
I
stole
love
it.
Awesome, Matt. You go now. This is great, man.
So I got a shirt, same shirt that he's wearing right there, it looks like. The nice, what are these? The next level,
Yeah, gotta make sure, right, Matt?
the best shirts.
Pull mine out too. Boom.
Matt knows.
El Padrino.
Yeah,
Boom.
And then we got some kind of, what is this?
you got one similar like that, huh, Jen?
Oh yeah, but mine, like I was telling you, I told Jonathan,
In the battle.
I have a similar shirt to this that he gave me a few years ago that I was gonna wear today. My wife saw it and she's like, "You can't wear that shirt." I'm like, "Why? This is shirt Jonathan gave me," and she's like, "That thing is ratty because I wear it. I just wear it all the time." So she said, "No, you can't wear it." So boom, I got a new
Now
one.
you got a freshie.
Yes, I love it, man.
So what is this?
Well, that's mate. Mate, yerba mate.
Yep.
In our language is more yerba mate. So that will, it's like a ritual in Argentina. People drink it every day, a couple times a day, like we do with coffee, but it's even more. People just gather and drink mate. And back in the day, well, before COVID, people used to share, because this thing right here, let me open it for you, has a stainless steel straw. So you pull the yerba here, right? Like the tea, and you fill it out. You can drink it with hot water or cold water.
Okay.
So it depends on the weather. Even in summer in Argentina, people drink it with hot water. It says it cools you down when you drink it even with hot water.
Yeah.
So, so this one right here, you just, how you say?
Yerba.
Yeah. You just put in your mouth,
Suck.
and then, right? Because you have the thing that you pour out, and then you pass it along with the people around you.
Everybody sucks out of the same straw?
Not
It's like
anymore.
okay.
Not anymore.
This is my straw.
Because
James.
it becomes.
It's like a filter straw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there, because you just pour the grounds in?
Right.
So you don't have like
Boom,
a
I
tea
got one
bag
too.
or.
Yes. The whole thing
Mate.
just like natural pours into there.
Nice. So you literally get hot water, put
Yeah.
a scoop or whatever of this in here.
Right. Probably you're gonna watch a YouTube tutorial to do it.
So what is this here?
That's the yerba right here. So there's different flavors. This one is guarana, which is
Is that bat poop?
Guarana.
huh?
Is that bat poop?
No,
That's guano.
Oh, go on.
I learned that from Ace Ventura.
Hey, it might have some of that in there. Who knows? But this one I like it a lot. If it's super fresh, so it's different herbs.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I gotta tell a little bit of the story.
Yes,
because
please.
You love Metallica.
I do.
What's the name of the singer, the main singer?
James Hetfield.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And I saw him because in Argentina people celebrate him. They went to Argentina so many times.
Yeah.
So he started drinking mate and the little breaks that he has on the show. And I saw that video. I was like, that's so cool.
Wow.
He just get off for a minute and he's like, look at the crowd, scream some more and just go back up. I said, I gotta give this to Matt, man.
That's awesome.
He
So
loves
it's and he
Metallica.
drinks it out of something like this.
Yeah, probably a little bigger.
traditional thing.
There's so many kinds.
Yeah.
So this one has a little bit of leather. It's black. I know it fits
That's
well,
cool.
right?
Oh, that's very cool.
So
I'm gonna make this a habit.
Is mine
a
the same?
practice.
yeah,
The same one?
yeah, same
right,
one,
leave it
same
in
one.
there.
Maybe a different color. I'm not sure.
see.
But if you don't like it by any means, maybe give it to your wife.
No,
Maybe
I will like it. I will like it.
I think you will do. You will. Yeah, I think you will.
Sometimes I get. I guess there's some like teas you can get from from Publix or the grocery store that
Right.
you. I will drink mate as like a tea, but I've never had it like this official way.
Yeah,
So,
Same color.
ooh, that's ox blood. That's a sweet color.
It's a different color?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So everyone who doesn't know,
colorblind.
James is colorblind. We should go ahead and let our audience know that because that's been a thing.
How do you know that?
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
You're welcome.
This is so
You're
cool.
welcome. My
So
pleasure.
special.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
and it gives energy. More has a lot of properties.
Yeah.
Good ones. So
Yerba. Is that translated herb?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Well,
I'm excited about this one. I will drink this. And I mean, we have one of our technicians here. His name is Salo. He's a Brazilian. I'm sure he will know all about this.
he will know how to
About
prepare
yerba?
it.
I'll probably get him one now.
Yeah.
Have our daily yerba.
Yeah, and you will drink more water as well, so that's a good thing.
I got some more stuff in here. Pull it out. This thing. Oh, El Padrino Dent Legend little
Yeah.
keychain.
Keychain.
That's
Let's
the
go.
color. That's the color we chose because the knockdown,
Oh yeah,
the green one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's El Padrino color right now.
And then I got something else here. What is this? Oh man, look at that.
You remember that? I was not last year, 2 years ago.
So this is a picture of. Well, it's on metal, I guess. It's somehow
is.
transposed onto metal.
Wow.
It is.
But it's a picture of me, Natalio, Deacon, and Lincoln, my sons, all working at the Mobile Tech Expo at the booth one year. We got to meet him. Was this?
22.
This was 22.
22.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I was in the picture. I took that selfie. I said, Dad, let's stop on this booth, and I want you to introduce you to Matt and his family. He said, okay. But I just took me off of there. Because it was going to be my face, and then this is the main.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Okay.
Wow, that's cool.
Is this showing good, Marcio? This good? Very cool. Thank you so much for that. That's what I wanted, some stuff to hang on this wall to give it some life in here. So these will be really, really cool additions. These are definitely going up behind us there. So,
Wow, that's really cool.
yeah.
I was excited to
Thank
give
you
you
so
those
much, man.
gifts,
And it's
guys. Yeah.
Very
Super
cool.
nice too, man. Like, it's cool how it's done. I dig that.
Yeah.
Very nice, man.
Wow. Pretty awesome gifts, man. Thank you so much.
Great gifts.
Wow.
Welcome, guys.
Man, so, dude, we're so pumped to have you here. Let's start all the way back. Tell us where you grew up. Tell us about growing up. Tell us about what it was like. Just like paint us a picture of what it was like growing up where you were at.
This is a cool part because it takes you back, like Bryce was saying, it takes you back, you know, and it makes you visualize and see the glimpse of your life. So I remember Dad, so little, right? We used to come to the States because he became a citizen, first a resident, then a citizen. So we used to come every year. We had to come, right, to prove that we were residents. We were not living here, but we were coming often. We were planning to move here. But then along the years, I realized that my mom, she didn't want to move here, and we were on the same page as my mom. So my dad battled with that. You know, it's like the opportunity's there. You guys had to see it. So we used to come for vacations, mostly in the summer. So it starts in December in Argentina, 3 months. But when I used to come here as little kid, 6, 7 years old, my dad was already doing his routes, and pulling in the dealerships. I remember some dealerships, Mercedes, or people talking to him, and he's doing his work, and I'm right next to him. I remember that Craftsman gray toolbox, metal, right? And once in a while, he used to put dents, with his hammer, and I used to grab the hammer and the other side, try to knock it out with a hammer, as
How
a
old
little
were
kid.
you think?
Maybe 7, maybe 8, maybe
Wow.
9. Yeah, those years. But yeah, so
How old were you when he first started trying to build a business in the United States?
well, probably 7 because I was born in 79. So 80. He came here for the first time, I think 84, 83. Before that was Australia. That's where I was born, in Melbourne, Australia.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, Melbourne, Australia, and that's where he started, pretty much. The story, I mean, I can go into a little bit of details. He started. They flew from Argentina to Australia with the whole package of opportunity for immigrants to go there, and they used to offer you place to stay, work, everything, right? So people used to immigrate and start working right on. And he started on Volkswagen, Nissan, and Volvo, which it was like a combination, multiple factories.
Under one roof.
Yeah, under one roof.
Wow.
Nissan, back then Volvo, and Volkswagen, some Audis too. So he was doing, he was on the line before the cars were going out, and he was not aware of his trade, pretty much, and he was doing a little bit of everything, for what I know. But then he started specializing more in panel beating and just fixing dents. But I don't want to make it too long, this part, but he was saving pretty much because all the other guys were filing and panel beating and manipulating some metal, but he was able to save them for some reason. So he went home one day, he started making his own tools, not the factory tools, and he started pushing and pulling dents out. Well, pushing more, because in those cars, most of the time, they were ready to go to the lot and maybe to somewhere else. So that's where he discovered pretty much Paintless Dent Repair. Well, back then, it was no PDR. It was just like, I'm just pushing dents out. So there's a lot of more details of the story in YouTube, the one that you filmed, but that I think he does.
So he just had this progression of working on the assembly line, trying to save these body panels that get damaged, and just experimenting with how good he can get them, and then would be kind of bound by his tools, and he'd go home and make a tool or something that would assist him in.
Yeah. There was no reflection board. Then he got an incentive and he got an idea for a reflection board. So he asked for somebody to do the reflection board, and they couldn't understand why he needed that. So he got a reward for that in the factory. I remember he used to say, cheap reward, cheap happiness, $50 back then.
Yeah.
But he got a reward. No. So at one point, he got aware of what he was doing, because he was doing the work for not only one people, but 4 people. He was the only one in the line, at the end of the line, doing all the work, going all the side of the panels, horizontal, lateral panels, and he was doing all the work. So he went to one of the managers and said, listen, I just realized that I'm doing something that nobody else can do. I'm saving all these dents, and some of them, they were big. He mentioned that in his story, and some of them, they were like pea-sized dents. So, and they were trying to negotiate a raise, for him, and he's like, they told him, well, for you to renegotiate, you got to quit, you got to leave, and you got to come back. And then, and he's like, it makes no sense. So he's always thanking God that door closed. So he went away, make more tools, and start going to all the dealerships right away. And
in Australia?
In Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, in Australia. And
so do you have any, I know you were born there, do you have any memories of living in Australia?
Really little. Escaping my house, maybe, under the fence, yeah. A wood fence. My grandma used to be there trying to, like, get a hold of me, because everybody was working. My mom's side, my grandma, rest in peace too. I almost drowned in a pool that we had. Yeah, that was another thing I remember. They found me, I was already purple color.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's where I got my my love for the water now.
Oh, yeah?
I say. I mean, there's so many glimpses,
Wow.
Little glimpses. But yeah, I was 4 when we moved back to Argentina.
Okay.
I was 4.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved back to Argentina. So both Matt and I worked for Dent Wizard, this company that your dad started, and a lot of the tools that they would give you would say, like, made in Argentina. So when I went through, it was in the early 2000s, 2005, and a lot of the tools still made in Argentina. So, like, I've never heard the story of who's making those tools. Like, how are they related to you guys? Like,
yeah, this factory, the owner of the company is the name of the company itself. It's Candamio. Candamio, it was his last name. He passed away too. Had great people working there, engineers, and people used to make tools for specific cars that they couldn't build those tools, like special tools for disassembling cars and just stuff like that, mechanics. Really close to where they live. So I don't know how was the connection, but probably my dad just presented a lot of tools and they were able to, and he was always incrementing something new, developing something, and they were able to do them.
So he'd make a prototype?
Yes.
In his garage, something, and then he would take it to this tool manufacturer and they would build it to
Yes.
specifications?
Because when he just came to the U.S., he just went to a junkyard, and he just got a set of metals and springs and stuff like that, and weld and cut, and he just made his own tools. Before starting Dent Wizard, that's when he went back to Argentina and knew these people, so that get a little bit more, different tools, different angles, and just different handles. I think back then they were not able even to dip the handle of the tools. So, yeah, Industria Argentina, you're right, made in Argentina, special way to do the tool, the steel, the template, everything. It was just
those tools are known for their ability that you can bend them, and like after they've already been made in their shape, then us as technicians could bend them to get them into the shape that we want, but then still be soft enough to bend, but still firm enough to use and to pry with, and then also be able to bend it back and it not look like a strip of bacon. It bends back and it looks good and straight.
Yeah.
And
stay strong.
That metal I know has always been a mystery as far as what it's made out of. I know Tom Price has talked about that a little bit about he's tried to find out exactly the composition of some of that metal, and it's eluded us. Yeah. But we've kind of gotten to, now tools are made out of different metals, but that Argentinian steel that those original Dent Wizard tools are made out of is some of the best, in my opinion, tool making steel out there. I mean, I have some tools here in my shop, and they're very unique. There's not, we have similar tools, but they're very unique in how they were made. Like they're sought after too.
Do the people who make them in Argentina, do they realize that they're special like that, or is that just a common?
I believe over
material?
the years they realized, because Dad was still, after he sold Dent Wizard, he was selling tools from Argentina for so many years. So then they realized, well, we're doing something that maybe they don't know, or they're.
That's cool. That's just cool to me that
they used
the day and age we live in. Elon Musk can launch a rocket and have it land back down in the same spot, but we can't figure out how to make this metal. That's amazing.
It's just
so
like
cool.
Matt said, they're just one of a kind, but there's so many tools out there these days. Even my dad, he was blown away. But yeah, that metal, it was a mystery, man. And I still have hope, because one of the right hands of the guy from the factory is still alive. And I spoke with him, and I showed him a prototype of something that I want to do that I show you. But he told me, a lot of the guys pass away. We're getting old. These new guys coming in, they're not doing all those type of things that we used to do. So maybe there's some blueprints from stuff that we used to do, or maybe some questions, right? About metal, how the process and everything. So,
dude, maybe all three of us should go down there with some cameras and have an adventure and record that whole thing. That sounds.
Well, if you have some of those tools, I guess then the story is you should hold on to those.
Yep.
Because it sounds like they're going away.
Yeah. I still use them, man.
Yeah, I do too. I've held on to quite a few of them over the years and try to use them when I can. There's some obsoleteness of some of the, meaning that there's better tools with different tips and better handles that you can do now, but they're still very functional and very usable tools in a lot of cases, and it sounds like they're going to be pretty rare, so I would definitely hang on to them. They have flat bars too, the Johnsons, the flat bars, some of the door tools. Very, very simple designs as far as the handles, the way that everything was made, and some of the bends on them.
So
I agree.
you moved back to Argentina when you're 4. So what was it like growing up in Argentina? Were you in a big city? Were you in a rural setting? Like, what was that like? And
in between, a little bit away from the city, Buenos Aires, the capital, 4 hours maybe. But I was very blessed. We were very blessed to be on the coast. So I'm pretty sure my dad didn't want to be in the city again. all the commotion and all the hustle was going on. So we moved to La Costa, which is the coast. It's like tiny little cities, one next to the other. And it's like 5 little towns, not cities, towns. There was no college. Of course, there's school, elementary, high school. So I grew up in Santa Teresita, really enjoy starting skating, surfing, bike, dirt bike. That was my passion since, and I remember my dad coming from the U.S. and just always bringing me like a big car, like remote control car and everything. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, but like, I'm not into cars too much, like I like surfing, I like skating, I like going to the beach, I like bikes. So I think along the years, he didn't want to, because I think he was trying to show me and trying to like, take me to this route. Like maybe you like cars and passion and maybe I can teach you this craft. Mm-hmm. But I was more into like more, free spirit. I want to just surf and skate. And then after a few years, I believe he brought me a skateboard with an engine on it from the U.S. Yeah.
Nice.
What?
Yeah. It was insane. I couldn't believe it.
You still got it? You still got it?
It's still over there. It's still over there. So my plan is to go get it. I don't know. Probably I'm going to have to.
Like it's a skateboard and it's got like a little gas engine on it?
Yes. The ones that...
kind of like a GoPed, but without... It's not a scooter.
It has an engine that the machine that you use to cut the trees.
Chainsaw.
Yeah, a chainsaw. And you just like, boom, and you put...
You have like
gasoline.
a little hand control?
Yes. Just no brakes, okay? Just the throttle.
All gas, no brakes.
So it's on you,
Wow.
And he posted a video like a year ago, me on that strip next to the beach doing that. And I look tiny. That skateboard looks like this table pretty much. And I'm just up there.
How old do you think you were at that time?
Probably 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even 10.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was
It's
like...
probably worth some money. I'd hold on to that thing. Unless you want to sell it, I might buy it.
I'm sure a lot of people would want to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much new stuff now, but yeah, that was super cool. People couldn't believe it in my city, in my little town, just watching a kid doing that. But of course, everybody knew that my dad was traveling, going overseas and coming back. And, pretty low profile, low key, but at the same time, we had a good house and, people was always curious. And, but yeah, I had a great childhood, man. Even my dad, he traveled a lot, but I always had deep, crazy love for him, to see him coming back and hug him and spend time with him. So I went there, school, elementary, high school, Santa Teresita.
What was your relationship like with your mom?
Oh, it's just amazing. Yeah, my mom, she's amazing. She's amazing. I love her to death. I miss her a lot. I don't see her since 2018 now. She went through a lot of health issues. A miracle happened in her life too. Thank God. So hopefully she will come back to the States now. But she loves Argentina too. She has all the family members and friends relocating. It's a different style of life, So there's a lot of community there. Just
can you talk more about that? Like, do you say it's a different style of life? Like, really, what is that? Like, what are the big differences? Like, if your mom, what's she used to, and how would it be different if she was here? I think people are curious about just a completely different way of living like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems like people don't work over there.
Really?
You're just like, what do you do, man? You're in this person's house, and then in the afternoon in this person's house, and then in the night you're having a barbecue somewhere else. I don't know.
And you're like, how do you get money? How do you survive?
Yeah,
It's a slower, more relaxed way of living.
Yes. It's always community, calling each other, and just I'll go pick you up. I'll do this. I'll do that. It's just more it's hard to describe, but it's just more relaxed and just more. Now, if you go to the city, it's another dynamic. Of course, people are like, more in a rush, more responsibilities, more. I believe more goals and ambitions because we used to live more in a town, so it's just more. That's why I think a lot of people just start leaving too because they will see no future. Just regular jobs, maybe you were an electrician, you would do better than just a person working in the supermarket. But then people are content. People are content with so little, and that's attractive in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. So I think part of the story is like me living there, I didn't see myself just with that type of life. I was going to miss that, but at the same time, I don't want to be just conformed to just like a town and just, I wanted to grow. I wanted to follow my dad's steps. I wanted to do something, meaningful with my life, not just, and yeah, it's beautiful, go back, but after 2 weeks, I'm like, I want to go back to the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate, I love it, and you miss stuff, and you still in awe how people are so just relaxed and serene, and they don't, there's a lot of corruption, of course, and a lot of crazy things going on, but still people got used to it, and they like it, and you see that, and it's inspiring in a way,
I think you're saying that you're limited on what you can do, as far as your aspirations in life. And I think that's probably what they like. There's not the pressure to be something crazy. You're just content with a simple life, and that's what it is. That's what they like.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that now. Because I opened a shop over there in 2011 when I came back. So I don't know if you guys want me to go back to the story or just, because I remember after that, when I finished high school, my dad and my mom they were getting already in the process to get separated. Okay, so my mom, she didn't want to go back, come to the U.S. So it created a lot of friction and tension, and things were not going along. So I finished high school, and me with my habits, my passions, surfing and all that. So I think they come together and they create this plan and say, okay, I think I'm going to take Johnny to be trained with me. My dad is telling my mom. And my mom, she's always a shield, right, for his boy and everything. He grew up with me more than you and a lot of things, But by that time, I was already doing, crazy things with my friends because I have several group of friends. So that is taking me, he brings me to the U.S. to be trained, and it was in the summer, which I was always looking forward to, everybody coming from the city, because Santa Teresita is like a little ghost town in a way. In winter, you can lay down in the main road and you could take a nap there. Nobody's gonna just pass by it. It's just like a lot of dogs in the street. I mean, it's nice, okay? It's nice. Sometimes I talk to my wife, say, there's a McDonald's there? Yeah, there's a McDonald's. I mean, you got to travel a little bit. There's a Burger King. So it's growing. It's more modern now. But back in the day, it wasn't rural, but it was like a little town. So I was looking forward to finish high school. I'm 18. So my dad's bringing me to be trained, and I didn't want to. I was like, I want to keep surfing and skating and having my life. And there's a lot of friends I want to see in the summer. In the summer? You're going to take me in the summer? So I came, and it was hard. It was rough because.
Were you training like with a class of people?
Yes, we were like more than 20, for what I remember, more than 20. But the thing is, it was not only showing up to class, because we used to live like 40 minutes away. So we used to wake up at 5 a.m, go early, set up everything every day, making sure that the aluminum sheets that were gonna be there, the pencils, the whatever tool we're gonna use, the board, the cameras, everything. So every day we were doing everything, having some quick breakfast on the go, and started training at 7 a.m, having a lunch break at noon, and finished class around 4 or 5. Yeah. And I still had me coming from Argentina with, missing my friends and everything. And back then I used to smoke weed. I had that, with me for so long. And it was hard, because I was with my dad now. But at the same time, because my dad wasn't with me a lot of times, he couldn't really tell. And me trying to engage, but at the same time, part of me is fighting because I don't want to be there. But I think after the first week, I kind of like relaxed and engaged and look what was going on around me. And I saw my dad and all these people paying him so much attention and everything was going on. It's like, wow, okay, I think this is good, and I get to hang out with my dad and go to dinner and go having, good times with him after on the weekends. But that class lasts for a month or more than a month. Yeah.
How old would you have been again?
I think I was 18, after 18 when I finished high school. I was in 97, I believe. 97, yeah.
And so
Miami.
Did you feel like you learned the trade? Like, were you successful in the training?
Yeah, because after that, I start working for Dent Wizard right away. Yeah, I started working for Dent Wizard.
So hold on. Were you in some of that first class?
Well, first class was 91, I think, with Rick Hummer, and that was in San
So you were
Luis.
97.
Yeah, so Tom got trained in 92 in Miami, and he always tells the story with the hurricane coming, and he was in the hotel. He was putting the mattresses on the
Windows.
and the windows. So that was the first class in Miami, because the first one from, industry-wise or corporate, it was in St. Louis.
So by this time, your dad's been doing it for a while. He's been
Yes.
teaching for a while. How many would he teach per year, roughly? One class a year, or was he teaching multiple classes a year?
Multiple classes. I think it was.
So he's
just-
probably trained, how many, 20 people in the class?
Yes.
Do you so back up a little bit? Do you remember when he transitioned from owning his own small business to like it blowing up into this big thing? Like, do you have any memories of that?
I just remember coming back one time from Argentina. It's this big shop, pretty much like your shop, like super neat, super professional, walls painted, flawless. And I see a different car, Mercedes. I see a Harley. I see an office. I see, I see people on the phones. All of a sudden, I see like a big, thing going on. And
So he went from doing car lots, the assembly line in Australia, to South Florida doing car dealerships. And then at some point, he gets a shop and he's doing big repairs. And now he's training people.
Yes.
So is he trying to was his idea to grow the business just himself? He's going to grow this business and just expand slowly by himself at first? Like, was he doing that before there were investors involved? Do you know?
I just saw him always like he's the one to fix the dents, right? And I start seeing, people being trained. So I say, okay, he's maybe training people to work for him. I never thought it was going to be like this big corporation growing and selling franchises and all that. But it was crazy. It was crazy, We knew that was going to take more commitment. So now we feel the pressure. We live over there and we see all this going on and building all this business. I'm still young and pretty naive.
What was your
really
mom
don't wanna-
saying? What was your mom saying about it?
Well, then after I got trained, my dad offered me, I think you should stay. You learn. I can see it. He was pretty hard on me, man. In a good way.
I bet.
In a good way. I remember staying sometimes for lunch. Cause you're gonna get it. You will see. I see the potential, but you have to do it right. You see this shit right. He's always getting it. And I think some of the technicians, they were like looking like, oh man, he's going hard on him. And I was like, I can't wait to get out. What time it is? I got like 6 more hours. But then I put my head down and I wanted to get it.
Yeah.
To prove to him, to prove to me, to prove to whoever was there that I was there with a purpose, and I didn't want to waste my dad's time and energy at the same time. So it was my heart was in the right place, but my mind was drifting always to, friends in Argentina and all these things. So after we got trained, and I make really good friends in training, which I still speak with some of these technicians today. He told me, you should stay. You should stay and help me. And you can do other stuff, not only dent related. I can teach you some things in the office and, talking to technicians and people and that stuff. So I remember that was in Miami, right across the street from the airport, the main facility. So I went to Fort Lauderdale location. It was a smaller location. I went to work there. Well, actually, before that, I was put on Enterprise right across the street from the airport, too. So I started there with Dent Wizard and Enterprise, 8 hours, 10 hours a day, fixing cars on that lot. Under the sun. It was just, just hardcore, man. And I was, sometimes I used to take a break and I used to think like, what am I doing here? I see the planes flying over me. I think of my dad. But then I just continue. For some reason, just continue pushing in this and making new friends and connections. And people treated me normal, not because I was the son of Little. They treated me different. For what I remember. But then they moved me to the other location in Davie, which Steve was there, the brother of Scott. Steve Blind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott Blend.
Scott Blend, I'm sorry. Scott Blend, and Steve was his brother, tall guy.
Okay.
Older than him.
Never met him. More
in the business area, right? Connections and all that, networking. So... yeah, I worked for, year and a half, and they, I was still smoking weed. So they find out, and they let me go. Very
they fired
bad.
You.
Yeah, they fired me, straight up. I mean, they didn't tell me, they told my dad. He was so disappointed, so embarrassed, so ashamed, so just hurt, and I was too. So I was like, you know what, Dad, maybe this is not for me. I remember me crying in an apartment with him in Hallandale, just telling him because he was just so down. His morals were so good. But I think he felt for me, not only for his reputation or whatever, for his son, right? So I decided after to go back to Argentina. And I realized all my friends are there in the city trying to get a career. Studying for becoming a reporter, a lawyer, a doctor, and I'm like right there again in my hometown, no purpose, no nothing, disappointed, ashamed, regret, whatever, and just taking care of my mom, whatever. And then I decided to, since I smoked so much weed, I was always hungry, and I studied for a chef, and I became a chef. Wow. In 2 years.
Okay.
I went to, they sent me to Buenos Aires, capital. Everything was amazing because they got me an apartment. So I studied, I became a chef. I loved it. The last 6 months, it was hard because I was into soccer and going to the stadium and hardcore people because I was not only in the crowd, I was in the main crowd with all the flags and all. Just crazy environment. You fight with the other crowds and all that. I used to follow my team all around the country pretty much. I left everything behind so I can belong to this crew. The drunkards of the bleachers, they call it. Los borrachos del tablón. I've seen so many crazy stuff, but thank God that ended. And then, I remember the last part of that road when I finished. I was, and so many bad things, so many bad habits, companies, just horrible places, going to ghettos and everything. But just, it was a part of I don't know why, but it's just bad company, like the Bible said, bad company corrupts good character. So I ended up doing crazy stuff. And my mom at this time, she was praying for me. She didn't know what to do with me anymore. She knew. At one point, I think she was a believer, but she was not really into going to church and everything. And I think she even contacted somebody from our town to do some kind of like witchcraft to deliver me from my craziness. And I think this person went to my bedroom and just throw some stuff over there. And my mom, she was so desperate. You know, she got into this stuff, which of course didn't work. It got things worse. But then she started looking television programs. Somebody was praying, and she started going to church. She used to travel 3 hours to the city from my town every weekend, show up to church with a picture of mine where somebody can pray for me. And I remember she showed me that picture years ago. It's kind of like faded. So many prayer. They were used to anoint it with oil and prayer and prayer and prayer. So I believe maybe a year after that, I was already done with a career, and she was going to church, and she invited me. She asked me to go to church, and I was like, that's not for me, man. You know, those excuses in my head. I believe in God in my own way. I don't want to become a religious, a fanatic. But one time I promised, because I sensed that she has something. She used to fight with me, and at this point, she's not fighting with me anymore. She's more calm. She's
got some peace.
Yes, deep peace that I can sense, and I'm kind of like attracted to it, you know. And I'm asking, but at the same time, like what happened with your wife, you know, you're like, yeah, it's like I want to believe, but at the same time, I don't want to admit I had pride, ego, and all these things, and like, no, that's not really for me. She's like older than me, maybe so she invited me to church. That was a Sunday morning. I think this is important because this is how I came, I believe, to the Lord for the very first time. And it was a Sunday morning, and I went to another city, took a train, got wasted, drunk, and we went to a disco, a club named Infierno. It means hell. I remember that. But I promised that my mom that I was going to be on Sunday morning service that day. So I went back, I made it, but as I was so wasted that security from the church didn't let me go in to the service. And they had glass doors, so I bumped on it. I didn't even see the doors. So I think that's why they got so scared, and they told me that maybe they thought like this guy just want to create trouble. You know, it was a big church in the middle of the capital of Argentina, right next to El Obelisco, the main road. And I told her I was there. They didn't let me in, and she didn't believe me because I lied to her so many times. I said, "Yeah, I'm doing this and I'm doing that." She found out about so many other things, but she was always fighting for me. She was worse than the police in my town. When my friends used to see my mom, they used to flee. Just flee. Just see the Honda Accord parking. I used to jump over fences and stuff. So she was a fighter. She is a fighter. She always prayed for me my whole life. So she didn't believe me. So long story short, 2 weeks after that, I go by myself on a Friday night. I go in. And I can only remember just me crying, just bawling. The service ended, and I'm just feeling relief, just peace, but I'm just crying. And at one point, you know, the pastor, whatever, make an invitation if you want to have an encounter with God, and if you know, trying to do everything by your own, and just you need to have this encounter today. You're welcome. Come. And I did. And that was in 2001, October. So October is a strong month for me. Always I remember about that beginnings, the origins of my faith. And thankful to my mom, you know. Yeah.
That's pretty strong. It's a strong story. It's a testament to moms, too. The power of a mom. I got a similar one. Similar story.
Yeah.
Almost mirror image of that. So... yeah.
Was your life, was there like a just immediate change in your life? Like, did you see immediate things happen, or was it like more of a slow progression?
Radical.
After that? Wow. Really?
Radical. All in. I wanted to serve, help people, go and tell everybody that I couldn't believe it. I could live really without drugs and alcohol and all this craziness that I thought I needed to be happy and whatever. And I did. I did reach out to many of my friends, my cousins and everything, and they saw the change. And they believe that only God can do something like that in me, And after a year, just attending the church, and I remember one Christmas, Dad came over, and he was gonna spend Christmas and New Year's, because New Year's over there is a big deal too, right? In Argentina, it's even more than Christmas. Sometimes I feel like New Year's over there, right?
Okay.
A lot of fireworks, like here too, but over there. So, anyways, I tell my dad, I want to spend New Year's in church. I want to take a bus and go there. And they look at me like, what? Like, now you're getting all fanatic.
Yeah.
Okay, you're getting all radical. You're leaving us here. I say, okay, slow down. I say, no, that's what I want. I want to begin the year and in the presence of God. That's what I feel that I need to do to. So, well, they let me go. And the same year, I'm not doing nothing. They almost sent me to France after I finished chef school, gastronomics. They almost sent me to France, and I almost go. I didn't go. I ended knowing the church, and I start serving the church. Fasting forward, 2004. I'm in the church. I'm living in the church. Big church, reaches out to the community, to the poor areas, to the needy, to the hospital, to the jails. So they send me, they know that I'm a resident, they send me to the United States to become like a missionary. 2004, I landed in LA, and that's where I was until 2007. Then I went to Chicago, then I went to Sacramento, then I went to San Diego, and it was amazing. I couldn't believe what I was living in. I was serving people, praying for people, and I saw so many miracles. And my mom, she used to attend this church. Not my dad. No, my dad, he was more like, just leave me alone. I have my own relationship with God, but I knew that God was after his heart too, because I can see my dad too became so successful. He became a little bit more arrogant and proudful. And so many attitudes that it was hard to deal with him sometimes. You didn't want to make him mad. You were always walking on eggshells, with my dad, because he became like this important person with so many responsibilities and people over his back. But yeah, that was my journey until 2011. Another crazy story that, for some reason, this church, I noticed over the years that it changed the trajectory, or just so many things change it, because now it's more about people getting stuff, like just prosperity gospel, pretty much saying like that. It's not Christ or God, salvation and forgiveness and peace and serenity and talking about the good things and the bad things. It's just more about what you can get. And you see the transition, and you see the bishops and the pastors, just the ambition of power. And just, I became a missionary. At one point, they put me as a pastor. So you needed to grow the church, the offering, the people. If in 3 months you don't grow the church, you are back in the end of the line. There's another pastor who's going to come. So it became like a business. And I didn't see that in the first 5-6 years. And then I see this, and I'm like, I'm doing everything to God. I don't care. I don't want to look at what man does, But in 2011, I was telling James a little bit of the story. I confronted this whole team of bishops and pastors, like 12 of them in this center of LA, and said, you know what? I don't see how you reflect God. You don't care for the people. You're just doing your television program. You're driving your cars bulletproof, dressing with custom-made suits of $1,000. You don't go to the hospital. You don't care for them. You don't go to jail. And I used to do all these things with my heart. I saw though. And I just rebel against all of them. And they called me that I was full of demons right away. They just the pastor, they wanted to hit me, but the bishop stood up like all red. It's like, you're full of demons. You get out of here right now. And that was in 2011. And I left, and I went back to Argentina. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't thought I was going to go back to PDR. But for some reason, PDR always followed me, always pursued me. I always saw that because when I came back to Argentina, there was a set of tools over there. I didn't know what to do. And my dad reached out to me, and he gave me the opportunity to go to San Luis because I told him, I don't know if I want to go back to the dents. And he said, okay, you can go to San Luis and you can do the course for do all reconditioning if you want. You can do the interior, you can do the rims, the headlights, painted the bumpers. You know, I can put you right. And I went in 2011. I went for 1 week and I learned all that. And I went back to Argentina thinking already, okay, I got to do something outside of the missionary. Just, you know, I'm already in the real world again. And all my stuff that Dent Wizard gave me, and we paid for it. Well, my dad paid for it at that time.
Was that training that you did with the Dent Wizard?
Yeah, it was in the San Luis facility. Yeah, I can't remember the last name, but he's Robbie. Rob
Kaysen?
Yes. I think we're talking about the same Rob. So all my stuff they're bringing from San Luis to Argentina because I'm gonna set up something. You know, I'm gonna rent a place. I'm gonna do something. Maybe even if I had to rent a spot in a car wash or in a body shop, I'm gonna do something with all this that my dad is letting me be trained with. And all my stuff got stuck in customs. All the products that they gave me, and then I learned everything, and I never got that back. Everything got stuck in there. And I see in the garage of my mom's house all the tools still hanging in there. And in 2011, my dad did an operation over there in the port, a little bit over the city in the port. So he invited me to work, and I was just helping him, just helping him organize the technicians and big operation, Volkswagen, Lido tunnels, inspectors, everything, like maybe 20, 30 guys. And everybody was telling me, hey, man, why you don't come back with the tools? Grab the tools again. I'm like, no, I'm okay like this. And I thought I was going to just be my dad right hand to helping. He was traveling. He was going to Germany, Greece, doing a lot of operations, bringing technicians, sending technicians, and doing, big hell work. But then in 2012, I decided, I opened a shop and I started doing dents. I started in my mom's garage. And I didn't know, I did some hell work, I did some big dents, and some of the repairs didn't come out so great. And my mom, she was like, don't fix this person's car. I know this person, please. I said, Mom, I need to learn. I need to retrain myself. I think I got it. Said, no, please, no, this person. He's like, something that I know. Okay. And most
Leave it
of
to a mom to be honest with you.
And she was right. Sometimes 3 hours on a dent, and I was like, well, I got to call this person now and just tell them, come pick it up, please. I'm not going to charge you. I went through that.
Yeah.
But that got me better, and that got me more confident. And then in 2012, I flew back, and I went to Oklahoma to work in a hailstorm, thinking that I already can do dents again. Okay? And I flew to Dallas. I bought a Ford Taurus. And on my way to Oklahoma with a few tools, the engine blew away. And I'm like, maybe this is not for me. I'm thinking, right, God is just sending me a sign. But no, I already made a good connection, which is still my good friend into this day, Brandon Shia with Dents on Demand. He came and picked me up. He pulled the car he towed the car, and I went to his shop. So he puts me to work. He knew, my dad in a way because his brother was training Dent Wizard. He gave me an opportunity. So the first dent that I'm going to fix on a yellow Mustang, He put me on the roof, pretty beat up stuff, kind of biscuit, and I'm fixing this dent on the hood, and it just cracks the paint right away. And he calls me and say, "Okay, come in." And he grabs a napkin and he tells me, like, "This is what I can do for you." And he puts some pricing, training, some days, and say, "I know you can't fix these dents. These dents are difficult for you." It's big dents, Oklahoma, 2012, right before that tornado came, which I ended up working again the next season with them. So he retrained me with big dents on hail. He paid me $800 a week. That would cover me just my hotel. And I went there just to make money, to make, a difference, a good hail. And I would say, okay, I'm stuck here. I got no option. And this guy is willing to retrain me with the big dents, oversized stretch dents on hail. So it worked. It worked, man. That was in 2012. In 2013, I was back with them again. I fixed, I think before I left that storm, I fixed a whole car by myself, and I was so proud of myself. They were going to put a wrap on that car, so it didn't really matter if it was going to be perfect. It was some big shots. But the next year, he was already paying me 60%, and the other storm, he was going to pay me 70%. So I just became part of his team pretty much. And that was just like so uplifting, so encouraging. So I saw God's provision. God will always put the right people in your path. It's just a matter of like believing, because sometimes you think you can do it all by your own and I'm going to make this happen. And sometimes you need the good people, I
think it's cool hearing about your dad, like, because it sounds like he gave you a gift, right? Like as far as PDR, when you didn't really want to get into it, really, that you're kind of fighting him a little bit, but he kind of encourages you to do this thing, and you have your times where you kind of leave and you do other things, but then you can always fall back to PDR, and that's, I'm trying to do that with my sons now, where I'm not trying to tell them that that's what they have to do for their life, but you want to give them the gift of just learn this, and if you want to do something else as another path, then that's great, pursue those things, but this is a gift that you can always fall back to, and maybe you will, maybe you won't, but you have the means, a very high paying skill to fall back to that you can provide for your family and make a good life out of, with, if you put in the time and you put in the effort to do it right. But yeah, that's cool hearing your dad really kind of, I won't say enforce that, but really kind of build that into the need to pursue that. And then your mom coming along on the spiritual side, you can definitely see where your parents helped shape you, man. Those are deep things. I don't want to say the similar story with my dad, but my mom is very similar in that I can relate with you with getting off course, and you got a praying mom who's bringing you back, and you very patient and pursuing that in you, Yeah. So that's really cool.
Shout out Sylvia Boyette.
Shout out to Sylvia. She'll be listening for sure. She listens to all these.
She's one of our biggest fans.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, for sure.
His mom's a very warm, very hospitable lady. I've been a beneficiary of it several times. Great lady.
God bless her.
Yes.
So, okay, your mom is praying for you. You become a Christian, but your dad is still, staying away. Like how your dad was, for people who don't know, later in life, definitely the last several years, your dad has been open about his faith in Jesus. So how did that happen? How did he go from being a arrogant, proud dude that didn't want anything to do with it to becoming a Christian who was just openly telling people?
There's a saying that one of my family members says, prayers don't have expiration, and he had a mom too that pray for him for many, many, many years. My abuela Santa, her last name was Macarrone, Sicilian warrior prayer too. So when I go back and came back from this hailstorm in 2014 to Argentina, I was like, wow, I'm making good money here. I'm bringing it to Argentina. It's really good. And then I decided to, and I had a shop already in Argentina. I was leaving to do a little bit of hail and coming back. People wait, if you have whatever work. And I used to do any type of repairs. So I decided to come back to the U.S. and just stay for good. And my sister lives in Coral Springs, and my dad used to live there with his new family, right? Because I have a little brother, Giorgio and Natalia. So he redid all his life. So it was hard for me to overcome that, really hard. But of course, through the grace of God, I could embrace his new way of life. But it was hard, I'm not going to lie. But my little brothers, they were so little, they were looking up to me. And then we decided to do something together. In 2014, we opened a shop right there in Margate, Florida. So he was training people in his house. He used to have a huge house over there in Parkland, in that city where that school got shot.
Okay.
Those kids, right? 17 kids. And I remember because my brothers, they were there. I went to pick them up in my dirt bike. But thank God it was a very sad day. So he used to live in that area. He used to train people over there, just, one at a time. People used to come even from Japan to be trained by my dad. I remember 2 Japanese guys. They came from Japan, from South America, from Europe. So we decided to do something together, and he was training on the front of the shop, like the dynamic of your shop. He was in the front of the shop training, and I was in the back doing retail. So we were working together, and sometimes we look at each other like, wow, full of joy. We're together again. I mean, more of him, right? Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, he planted the seed and pursue me in a way to go back, and this is happening. But I was telling James that he told me, you know what, we're not going to focus only on dance. We can do more. So now that you learn all that class, and like 2 years ago, we can do all reconditioning. So we opened a place called the Car Cosmetic. And we were doing keys, we were doing rims, and we were doing... That didn't last too long. That was like 6 months, because we used to get like 2 cars in 1 week, and the people used to show up, our vendors. But then it's like, well, I got only 1 car for the rims. Oh, I'm not going to go for 1 car. And that my dad got like, no, this is not going to work. So focus more on training, building a good website, people helping us, and me on the retail side, and then a little bit of wholesale, body shop, and I'm already functioning, on my side. And he got every 3 months, he got some training, some people coming. His training lasts like a month. And if the person wasn't sure yet, wasn't confident, or wasn't at that level, he used to let them stay for a week more, because he took it really personal.
Like what size classes would these have been? Like first training?
Basics, all the beginner classes, you mean?
No, how many students?
Oh, no, it's just 1 by 1.
1 by 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 by 1. Just 1 by 1.
One-on-one training with him for a month or longer. Yeah,
I'm trying to think the name. Keith Shapiro. So his wife was trained by my dad too. I think they live in Coral, in the west coast of Florida. He's well known, but his wife got trained with my dad. Yeah, it was 1-on-1 a month. He took a rest for 2 months, and then another person used to come, and it was always that lasted for 2 years. And then after that, I rented another shop, because that one was kind of expensive, and we didn't want to commit to that one. We wanted to build something and buy something. So I think he wasn't ready, and then he went through a lot of issues with his marriage and all that. So he stopped. and I became more determined with my business, helping him in other ways. I think he traveled several to some places to do hail again, to organize storms. And then, I had that shop, the other shop, for 3 more years. That's when I started again doing big repairs, and he used to show up and used to hang out together. So that was until 2017. That's where I met my wife, in that shop.
She came in to get a dent fixed?
Thank God for that dent.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you charge her?
Yes. I was very professional. Very polite, but very professional. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy. She knocked on the door and she showed up. And I was like, I was in the back and I was working in the hood, I remember. And, oh, excuse me, I got a dent in my car. Like, she was all worried and stressed. Like, okay, just wait a little bit. I'll go check it out. And I was one person only, right? So I go check it out. It's a Ford Escape and a dent on the bottom of the door and a crease, kind of nasty dent. And she got it on New York. She just came with this rental car. And somebody sent her to me over there. Crazy story. So she made an appointment. She came back. I fixed the car. So she went to wait in a restaurant. And at this point, I had my motorcycle. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go pick it up. And I said, no, you can wait there. I'm going to go pick you up. So she's waiting in the restaurant. I show up in the bike. And the rest is history. She's going. She's like, yeah. She's like, what? This you? Like the dent guy? Yeah. I came to pick you up. And my new horse here. Like, I just bought this XR 250. And she jumped in and I hit that throttle and she grabbed me and because she said she thought like, is he flirting with me or something? Because woman can tell, right? And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her and she gave me a $20 tip.
Yeah,
that's not really common. Like, okay, maybe, but and she's telling me right off the back, hey, I got 2 kids. They're big and they're 12 and 11 and 12 at that moment. But yeah, man, amazing. Look what PDR does.
When was that? What year was that?
That was 2017. 2017.
So
not too long ago.
So y'all got married?
Yeah, 2020.
2020.
And my dad was there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where was that at? South Florida?
Yeah, on the beach. Yeah. Amazing. Because I was living with my dad. Mm-hmm. I was renting a home. Because he got separated. So I helped him move like 2-3 times. But then we living together in the house. I'm paying for everything. And at this point, I decided to move with my lady, right? I'm going to move with her. And he's like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Because at that point, we were going to church together, serving together, doing ministry together. And I'm here thinking, well, now I find the love of my life, and I'm not gonna try to please everybody or not offend, and I really don't care at this point. I'm just going after what I think is my opportunity, which was her. So I move out, and he's getting another apartment, so I'm helping him in the transition, but he got really upset with me, and he talked to me for a while. But at the end, several years, he loved my wife, man. He showed up to the wedding. He loved my wife to death because he saw me so happy. So at the end, he needed to acknowledge that, it was God's will for me to marry Karina. And yeah, we had so many trips together, my dad, my wife, and I. Going to St. Louis, going to Anson, MTE. It became like a really good, healthy, loving relationships, the 3 of us.
What is her nationality? What's her background?
She's originally from Honduras.
Okay.
And grew up in New York. Yeah.
Is she part of your business? Like, does she help out in the business now, or is...
She's trying to get into, and I'm looking for ways to really do that, because she has the will and she wants to help. And at one point 2 years ago, when we had a good hailstorm, she came to do some estimates and stuff. But since it was my first hailstorm, it was hard for me to show her and do and get things moving at the same time. I was concerned because I never did it by myself, like the whole paperwork and insurance, emails, phone calls, everything. But it worked, but I needed full attention, so she was showing up, and I was trying, like, okay, just mark and use a reflection board. I was patient enough, but then we couldn't do it consistently. But she feels that she wants to be part of it. And I'm grateful for that desire. So I'm looking for ways to really, maybe train her in a way. And last year we went to a place to work. They told me, hey, we can train her, and meanwhile you work. So I don't know. I'm in that journey right now, and she's super willing. And when my dad trained, the last part, our greatest memory, the last one with my dad, is the last training in December. He trained my good friend Claudio and my son Dominic, which I thought he didn't want it to learn, Dominic. And my wife kind of pushed him in a way. And I thought, well, maybe he's trying to please his mom. But we did the training, and I think I want to emphasize in this because this was in December, and my dad passed away in March, right? So I get to see, one of my last memories, hands-on, right there with my dad. The same thing as before. We need to get there early. We need to set up everything. We need to do it right. If we're going to get coffee on the way, we need to have time. We're going to pray before the meeting, making sure everything is on point, the board, the camera, the laptop, everything. But now I see a different perspective of him, more patient, more loving with the students. It's just three people and me, right? But then I see my dad full of joy, me training with him, me, bringing some insight to the class. But it was crazy because when we were leaving the shop after the training, he was exhausted. I thought he was gonna be like really tired. He was 75 already. And it's like he was really personal. Like, you think Dominic is getting it? Because I'm really concerned. You see how he moves the light? He don't move the head too much. I'm telling him, but I think he's saying yes to me. But I don't think he's getting it. He was really passionate and personal. He wanted for them to understand what they are doing, what they're doing, why they're knocking over here, why they're pushing over here, why the angle of the body over here. So I got to have that last good memory, of course, MTE. And we brought Giorgio, my little brother. It was his first MTE. He's 6'3". We call him Little Giorgio, but it was a blessing that he was with us, right? The three of us. And that was kind of like the goodbye.
Yeah.
For now. Yeah. So, and I always thought, I'm going to build this good team, this just phenomenal technicians. And it's funny for me because now I have my good friend Claudio and my son. They're not great technicians. They're still learning. So I'm like, okay, you see, God has some sense of humor because it's like, oh, you wanted a team, right? So now, my dad always told me, they looking up to you. They rely on you. They dependent on you. You got to still teaching them all the things that that I taught you. So, they feel that the legacy is continuing, and, they feel this this passion to keep this banner high and keep continue, the the work, the love, and just this legacy, man, it's amazing. It's humbling. It's amazing. It's just it's like Bryce Kelly was saying. It is what it gets me out of bed. I have a purpose to fight and pursue and just, perform and get better and just, yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, what do you think is magical about this trade or the skill set that makes you feel that way? Like, the way I feel, the way Bryce feels, the way that you're describing that. Like, what do you think that is?
It's a good reason to fight. I like challenges. I like to put that soldier mode in me and go for something and just, if we're setting up in somewhere like a different part, just setting up my trailer, my tools, it's like my firearms, it's like my weapons, my tools. It's like that tenacity. It brings that tenacity, my determination, that that resilience in me. It brings it up. Maybe all those years I was skateboarding and surfing and dirt biking, falling from the wave, to the concrete, it was just preparing me to have this determination with the dents and not give up and fix and not say no to this. And it just gives me that drive, to be honest with you, and just reminds me how Dad used to be, take it so personal and so passionate about it. And he kind of like contagious me. And I don't know, am I saying it right?
Contagious. It was contagious.
It was contagious. Yeah. He didn't say everything, but I saw everything from him. And that kind of just passed on to me. And I like still like if there's a hailstorm and they're all gravy cars, I can get a little bit like bored a little bit.
Yeah.
So if I go to a place and I work under somebody else, I'm gonna tell them, give me one-on-one. Don't give me all, just 3 things. You can pay me every 7 or 10 days, put an R&I guy with me, and give me 1 car easy and 1 car hard. If you have an easy, if you have hard, that's fine. Because it will, if you have it inside, that will bring up that tenacity that is in you. You know how many times I show up to a storm and those guys already complaining, oh, these cars are so hard and this and that. It's like, dude, you already knew this was going to be like that. Or they're too hard, or they're too hard for you. Or maybe you don't want to put all your effort. But if you're still thinking like that, I just go and attack and grind and just go through the car. And just makes me feel satisfied for some reason, Yeah.
That's good. So your business, you have a shop in San Antonio, but you still will go travel and chase storms. So is your just tell us more about your business in San Antonio. Is it mainly hail focused? And then like when you leave, do you just shut your business down when you leave? Yeah.
Yeah. I have a funny story. The only bad review that I have since we opened in 2014, it was a lady that showed up and I was not there and there was no sign, and she said she called and I never answered. So that really taught me a lesson. She put me a 1-star review, and that's why we still have 4.9. But at least it's 4.9. It's just, so I learned from that. But now, if I'm traveling, I'm trying to, or my son stay there, even in the business hours that Google is showing, or I just put the sign that really says I'm doing mobile work right now. You can call me, you can text me, we can video call, we can look at the damage. It's right there. That's what usually do. And people, for some reason, people in Texas, they're so just easygoing. They wait for you. Oh, that's not a big deal. It's good. You're making money. When you come back, you reach out most of the time. When I used to be in Florida, I used to travel. They used to tell me, well, if you don't come back, even in the dealership, I remember you mentioned that you were, what was Bryce when he was saying that I put he put all the eggs in one basket. So I had a great account that was Toyota, and I used to make almost 1,000 a day, just regular, just going through the lot. And that was like 3 years. And my dad used to tell me, don't put all the eggs in one basket. So one day they went in-house and I was out, just like that. And then I got to restart again. But then I just, focus more on retail again. That's like, you know what, I'm not going to do more dealerships, which I did when we came to San Antonio. But I already came with somebody in mind that I can work for a period of time, and then maybe, telling him already ahead my idea, and he knew who I was. But I got a good vibe with this dude, Jake from Bernie, Texas, and from TrueCraft. So I worked with him for a year, and it was an amazing year. We got a big hailstorm, and but yeah, after that I just went to Chase Hill again to Omaha, I remember, and we worked in Porsche for a month and a half. And we worked inside the dealership, inside the lobby of the dealership. I never had that experience before.
In the showroom.
In the showroom. And I thought to myself, is this good or bad? Like, people were coming in and we were banging the cars. And it was a phenomenal experience. And we were, me, one of my buddies, and 2 Russians on the other side, I remember. And it was a great time. And I discovered a part of me, the patriot part of me that loved this nation, this country, that and that storm, because these Russian dudes, they were kind of like aggravating. They were telling us, they were always speaking Russian. And at one point, he was making fun of the Mexicans. They used to work with Mexicans. They always listening to this crazy loud music from Mexicans. And this guy is telling the other guy that, you can tell they're talking crap about you in some way. So this guy, one of these Russian guys, I told him, hey, why don't you speak more English? I told him straight up, you, and he's like, because all the American people, they're gonna have to learn Russian very soon, something like that, he told me. And I was like, dude, what the heck you talking about? Just go over your car, and it almost got to a fight, because this dude was. So all the managers came in, and it was crazy. It was crazy. I was like, wow. Well, I guess I have a patriot side of me. Like, really, I wanted to kill this dude. Straight on it. And that's one thing that I do when I'm working in a hailstorm. I'm working in a car. You see so many technicians, they stop and they talk. I don't stop. You can talk to me, but I'm going to just keep working. I'm not going to lose that rhythm. We can talk when we have a break, or at the end of the day, or before the. So he was talking to me, and it was a whisper that he was trying to and I looked to him, so mad, so upset, like, I want to kill you. I want to grab you by your neck. And there was other things that were boiling up to that moment. Yeah. We needed to clean their cars, the rails, they looked like, and these are Porsches, these are Alfa Romeos, they were paying good. And we were doing their job, and they were like, talking crap, and I say, no, man. So, man, I think my buddy, he was having tools in his hand, ready to fight in the middle of the showroom, man. All the managers, they freaked out. But we stood there, so we'd continue the storm, and they left.
Do you still have citizenship for Australia?
Yes.
What about Argentina? How does that?
No, I never became a citizen.
Okay.
Just a resident.
But with Australia, you
yes.
do? Okay.
Yes. Thank God.
Have you ever gone back there to work? Have you ever tried to go back there to work?
No, we have plans to go now in at the beginning of the year, just to visit. 40 years later.
40 years later.
Are you a citizen, like dual citizenship with United States? Okay.
Yeah. American, Australian.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you still have some contacts through your dad in Australia?
Some people from Dent Wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought they invited me to go work over there, I just want to go and see the hospital where I was born, the house where we were raised. My sister found it on Google Earth and places that you've been surfing, and just where he worked, the hostel that they stood for the first 2 years. It was a hostel. So it's going to be special. Yeah, hopefully now in beginning of the year.
So you're going to go to where? Where's it?
Probably Sydney and then Melbourne. I was born in Melbourne. Probably Sydney first and then Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then, trying to stay there at least 3 weeks.
Okay.
Bring a few boards.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have a full sleeve on your right arm. You have a couple tattoos. Any of these tattoos have any good stories associated with them?
Yeah. Well, Matt loves tattoos too. I had a few. So this sleeve right here, it just represents. These are the the 7 declarations of Jesus saying, "I am. I am the way. I am the door. I am the bread. I am divine. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the good shepherd." That is just a strong reminder for me, saying to me, I am all you need. I am all you need. Even if something doesn't go your way, you don't have to wait and things on people and just places only. I am. That was another thing that on my own I couldn't have kids. So he was telling me in all the process, I am. I am your father. I'm your son. I'm all you need. All the things I will fulfill for you. And he did. He gave me 2 sons. Well, actually 3, but the big boy is Justin. He's a big man, great person. So they're my stepsons, but they're my sons, Dominic, Anthony, and Justin. So very super grateful for them. Got to do a lot of good things with them in their teenage years that I had the privilege to show them, that I'm not a perfect man, but we can count on a perfect God, and through the struggles we can learn. There's so many stories. So yeah, this one right here, and then I have a big lion on the back, which is one of my favorites. And Australian flag, me skateboarding over here, my favorite number, American flag over here. And the one on the back, it reminds me sometimes when, and this is how the Deuteronomy 8:18 was started with my dad, because he wanted to bring to MTE his story, but attach it to the spiritual side so people can, receive something else. So he wanted to, okay, let's bring a verse from the Bible, from the Word. And I remember this verse talks about that everything that we do, it doesn't really come from us. It's a giver giving you a gift. Sometimes we trust more the gift than the giver. And people say, well, I'm doing this. I'm the man. I'm. Well, really, it says the Lord your God is giving you all the power to be successful. The breathing, the everything is just a miracle. Maybe you're not seeing it. Maybe you don't know him. Maybe you don't recognize him. But it is the truth. So that tattoo in the back reminds me one of the last phrases that my dad said, that it doesn't matter how much you have, but who you have inside. Because I remember one guy told me, Jake, by the way, he told me, well, that's really badass. I can see that you're lying. No, that's the one that lives in me. I'm not the lion. I'm not the storm. I'm filled with the one that can calm the storm and conquer, the grave. So it'll always open up a conversation, and my dad never liked tattoos, but when they were about Jesus, they were fine.
Yeah.
He needed to, okay. Yeah.
That's awesome. So there's there's a write-in question. Someone wrote in to ask a question of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did they do it? What was the means that they wrote in?
Instagram. So
Instagram.
this guy's name's Andrew. His handle on Instagram is Dent Tech FL. You follow him. I looked on there.
Okay.
Anyways, I felt like this was a really good question, and all three of us could probably answer it in a couple different ways. So, and I wrote out my answer, but I want to get y'all's answer. So he says, if you were going to relocate to a new state / market, how would you guys go about getting your business going in the most efficient, fastest way? It's taken years to build my current relationships and accounts. I feel like it would be a very daunting task to start over from scratch. No, you've done that. We've all kind of done that. Started from scratch. You relocated, Jonathan. Matt, you kind of went from traveling to planting your roots back down. But either y'all want to go first on what y'all would tell this guy?
Well, I would say it depends on where you want to relocate. That's a big thing. Mm-hmm. Before I opened my business here, I looked at moving to Denver or moving to another. Well, it was Denver specifically. I was looking at moving, and with Denver or a hail-prone area, then you have a little bit more opportunity. Not that hail is easy, but I mean you can almost count on it in a lot of cases in these cities that are kind of known for getting hail. And when it does hail in these areas, I don't want to say it's easy because that's not the right word, but it makes it easier.
There's a lot of opportunity.
So much more opportunity for you to build a business because it's just inundated with hail. I mean, and then it's insurance money. And so as opposed to moving to the Pacific Northwest or, another city in Florida or Southern California where maybe there's no hail, well, that's a whole different game that you're going to have to try to, learn how to play. And I would say for me, the most valuable thing, if I were to try to move to another city, would be trying to build a reputation. I think your reputation is the most valuable thing that you have. I mean, there's other things that would support that, like marketing and a location. And of course, all of those things are going to cohesively work together to make you successful. I mean, you could attribute lots of things to success, but I think the deepest, most valuable thing above a bad the reputation will overcome a bad location. The reputation will overcome bad marketing. You can have bad marketing, but have a good reputation and be successful. I think if you have it reverse to maybe you got the best location or best marketing, you got a bad reputation, you might have some short-lived success, where you might sprout up pretty quick and have the illusion of, success. But as soon as those Google reviews or the word of mouth or those things start coming in, then that's not going to be a long-term plan. And so I think people get, whether or not you're a new technician who's just starting out or even in this case, I think people get blinded by the glitz and the glitter of the big things, the shiny things, the fishing lures or whatever, that we see is as important, and they miss the deeper thing, which is just build a good reputation. Just build a good word of mouth. That is your long-term investment in yourself that will always be there. And of course, obviously, once you're on the road to building a good reputation, then focus on, what's a good location that if retail is what you're going to do. Some guys just want to get into wholesale, and location doesn't matter. It's about selling yourself and looking presentable and putting out a good product and having fair prices. I mean, there's so many elements to that you could try to address. But for me, build a reputation that precedes all of those things. That's the most important thing.
Okay.
Yeah, right on. I think this makes sense to what Matt is saying, because in my case, before I travel, I was contacting people that I can already work with. It was going to be hard for me just to open a shop right away, even if it was a hill area. So I was already prepared in my mind and humble enough to say, I got to work with somebody to create and develop and know the area where I'm going to establish first. Knowing, letting these people ahead or know that my plan was to open a location, but I was not going to be a threat or nothing, you know. It's just like we wanted to network together. So I think that was a really good strategy for me, working with somebody. Of course, they were all about, I look at all the reviews, even before, you know, there was like 5, 6, 7 companies. And I just felt on the phone before I travel, I say, I'm planning to go over there. Do you need help? I explain, I give you a little bit of my story, my background. And I just came with this dude that had really good, you know, vibe and spirit. And he was very welcoming. Hey, man, I would like to meet you. I would like to see you work. I think it will be a good fit in my team. So, you know, I didn't have an issue with that. And I think if you're gonna, like Matt was saying, it depends on how you want to work, right? Because the first, I already came with that. And then when I was by myself, I started knocking on doors and dealerships because I was already doing my thing. But for some reason, no doors open for me. And it was like 2 weeks knocking on doors, going in dealership and saying, hey, I know you have a person, but if this person can't show up or can't fix this dent or can't help you, I want to be there to show you what I can do even. But no door open for me. So I already knew inside of me there was going to be more retail, and I needed to put all the effort in marketing and doing, you know, because my business I just changed locations, you know, whatever. Google can transfer everything from one location to other. So that helped me a lot.
Really? So your Google business profile transferred from Miami-ish area?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's really good, right?
Really, oh, yeah.
Except for
That's
that
huge.
one bad review.
Oh, yeah.
Follow me.
It followed you?
It's going to fall away,
For the
hopefully. But yeah, I didn't know that either. And that was like, oh, wow. So like Matt was saying, my reputation was there. Now it's more the location and how I'm going to just, you know, look for work. And, but yeah, I have no problem working under a good team, you know, and that person, let's say I want to work with Dent Slayer, you know, don't think, oh no, I'm here to do my own thing. I want to do my own thing. Just be humble enough and grateful for the opportunity. And this person is going to refer you and is going to talk good about you. That's what happened with me, with the other dude. You know, you can count on Jonathan. I was on the other side of town. So that was my experience in that matter, relocating, you know. Yeah.
That's good. So I had more time to think through this. But some of the same things that y'all said I have. But I have a couple practical things. One of the things I said was get out of debt. So I said that and I'm saying some things that are kind of like ideal. Sometimes you can't do all these things. Sometimes you need to move when you need to move. But I'd say try to get out of debt as much as you can. I'd say save up like 3 to 6 months of money, of expenses.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have that pressure to get the money right away. You can do the right thing over time. You have time to start knocking on doors and building your reputation and start like that. And I said, is your family on board? Is your wife and children on board to move? Like, do you have a solid family situation? And I would say, if not, maybe you should spend some more time trying to sell them on that instead of just forcing it. And the next thing I said was make friends with some local techs. So basically the same thing you said. Be allies with who you think the top competitors would be, people that you can respect and learn from. And especially moving to a different place, I feel like the business can be the same, but the local understanding and how things are in that town can be completely different than what you're used to, you know? And if you think that you're going to come into a certain town and do whatever you want, and you don't realize that, you know, you might be like the guy in that movie Avatar, who he goes into the other world and he's like a big baby and he's knocking over everything. He doesn't understand the new world. So a lot of those things would help if you make friends in that new place. And then, like you said, Jonathan, just be loyal to them. Don't take their customers.
Yeah.
And then with the other people, be like a professional competitor to everybody else that you're going to be taking their customers from. You know, whatever you do, be able to kind of stand behind it, even if someone doesn't like what you do, because you're taking, you know, basically food out of their family's mouth. You know, you're still doing it in an honorable way, you know, that you can stand behind.
Yeah.
Some of the retail things I said, get your brand set beforehand. Just you might be able to transfer all this stuff. But I'd say if you're going into a new market, try to somehow stand out from your competitors with your logos, your colors, everything like that. Try to be different. Look at your competitors' marketing and all their stuff and just try to be creative on how to stand out there. And then you said that the Google transferred, but I said get your Google business set up as far ahead beforehand, but that would be great if you could just transfer that. And then I would say start your ads going like as soon as possible. To, you know how they kind of take weeks to kind of start producing results. I would say try to get that going beforehand, and maybe even start scheduling. You know, if you have a date where you know you're going to be on the ground, maybe you could start scheduling out at a certain point.
That's good.
Yeah. I'd say if you are doing retail stuff, spend a lot of money on advertising at first, probably like double or triple what you want to be usually spending, just to get things going, because that can be tough. What else did I say? Okay, I said with dealerships, I say like make a list of all the dealers or body shops or everything, and then just systematically go through everything like it's your job. It's my job every day to visit all these places until some doors open. And if you're not in I don't really know much about the hail business like these guys do, so I'm not really speaking to that, but just the dealers, body shops, rental companies in the area, or auctions or whatever, just, if you don't have any work to do, then you should be going to see people just consistently. But that was everything I had. Questions, comments?
How was it for you on this first month since March? I know you said that in your story, but in a brief version, you thought it was going to be like it was, or it's going to be harder, or let's say if it wasn't for Matt or all the connections that you have here, how you felt it was like the transition?
It's been harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I thought I would be able at first I thought I could just do retail. But that was not happening. Like I had to get wholesale accounts to stay busy enough. Yeah. And I still don't think, like I'm probably half and half, but I still don't think I have that enough retail time in the market to be like I still couldn't transition to just retail at this point, even if I wanted to. But I remember Matt telling me one time, he's like, dude, even if you're busy, you feel like it's busy with retail, like that's it. There's seasons where you won't be getting anything for a while. And I felt that. And so then, especially in those times, you're like, wow, I'm glad I got these dealerships. So, yeah.
I like to think that they offset each other. You know, when the dealers are feeling it or they're slow, my retail is usually up and vice versa. I like having a good mix of both that I can essentially kind of count on in a way, like I said, to offset. And then you can kind of divert your time to that also. I try to be at around 50-50. And sometimes that obviously changes depending upon, you know, the nature of the market or just what my business is at or the demand. But, you know, I don't want to just shut off doing wholesale and just have my retail shop. I'm not at the point where that I would be comfortable doing that. I mean, and part of it is for me, it's a different skill set.
Totally.
And I think if I just quit doing wholesale or if I quit doing hail and I only did retail, I mean, you're going to develop and be a really good retail tech, but you're going to lose some elements. I think, you know, maintaining the ability to do wholesale keeps you fast and efficient and flowing, and even hail, it brings a whole nother element than if you just sat in a retail environment where you have all the time in the world, you have all the money in the world, and you have perfect environment, you know, with a shop and climate controlled and lights. You can work late. That you can become spoiled. And when you're in a wholesale account, I mean, I got some places I got to be out there before 5. They close the gates at 5, right? And so you got to be fast. You can't be lollygagging. You can't be on your phone. You can't be, you know, sitting down for lunch. We don't go to lunch on the wholesale days. You know, like you have to know how to be proficient and efficient. And so I think for me, keeping one foot in each world, so to speak, keeps me relevant in both of them. And we know how to close the doors and stay late and do some really clean high-end retail, but we also know how to run through, you know, 20, 25 cars pretty fast. And but it definitely depends on what you want to do for your business, right? And I was going to say something else about the reputation. Is I've heard objections to reputation as being like not an immediate thing. Like that's something. It's like a 401k. You know, it just takes a long time to build. It's great to have, but it's not an immediate. And I would say, I would argue that and say that's not true, because a reputation I build, and if you look, you have to look at it this way. My reputation or your reputation, you will build every day. Every day is an opportunity for you to build your reputation. And if today is day one, then it's day one that you start building that reputation. And I believe it can exponentially grow, right? It's not just, it can be, depending upon what your reputation is. It can be this slow, long-term thing, but it could be really fast. And whether or not you're walking into a dealership for the first time, whether or not you walk in there next week could be determined upon your reputation, you know, on the impact you left with that guy, or how you spoke, or what your business looked like, or the type of repairs you did. I mean, those are all reputation. And if you look at them as a long-term thing, then you're really not thinking about your reputation the right way. It's an everyday thing where some people say you're only as good as your last dent. And that really equates to your reputation, because if I put out a bad product today, then I've just crapped in in my sandbox. You know, like I'm not like I've just messed up my reputation.
Right.
And I've opened the door for this potential of a bad Google review that you're talking about. And in order to maintain, you know, right now we got over 200 5-star reviews. And every day it's an opportunity for me to get another review, but it's also an opportunity for me to not get a review.
Or get a bad one.
But that's what I'm saying. Or get a bad one. That's what I meant to say. If you don't value that reputation should be, you're always trying to meet or exceed that every day. And if you look at it the right way, then it can have exponential returns. All it takes is one person. I did a hail car for a guy, hailed in this area. I did a hail car for a dude. The first day he showed up, he's a car freak. He showed up over here. I fixed his car. It was a BMW 4 Series, black. I fixed it. He was ecstatic. He went right home, posted it on his Facebook neighborhood, blew up. I had about 80 cars come to me that year from that neighborhood mostly, and most of them referenced that Facebook post about that guy.
Wow.
I mean, like, how else can you more, state that? Like, if I could have done a bad job, or maybe I was rude or a prick or whatever, let's just say I did a good job but he wasn't impressed with me, and he didn't feel the need to make a post. It was like, he did a good job, but I'm done with this guy. But no, you have the ability to build this reputation every day, and if you value that, then that, like I said, that had, it was around 80 hail cars that came, I would say, from that post. And that's amazing. That's a testimony to valuing reputation. So don't short-sight that, and don't think it's only a long game, because it is a long game, but it can be as quick as that.
Something magic happens.
Magic happens. Or the guy you're working, you go to the dealership, and you're just maybe doing a cold call at a dealership, and you walk right up and you talk to someone who you think is a salesman. That's the GM outside having a smoke. And the way you talk to him, if you talk to him like he's just some peon salesman who doesn't mean nothing, then no, it's the GM, and he's the one who's going to seal your fate here at this dealership or not. And that could, maybe that guy's a GM of multiple dealer groups, And so don't short-sight the reputation. That is probably the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest thing you could do as a value to growing your business. And I would say just, the best thing you could do is make that the most important thing in your business. Above the money, above anything is that reputation.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. And I remember when Bryce said the other day, right? Always be on your toes. Don't get too comfortable, right? Because you never know, some distraction, some whatever happen and deviates you from that goal, from that mindset. Like, every day is the opportunity to show my best. Because that's going to fulfill you as well. Man, I give it all. And I went beyond the extra mile, and look at this customer is happy, is bringing other people, and that's fulfilling. That's where you can get home and tell your wife and your kids, and they will be like, wow, that's inspiring. I just did this car, whatever. It was another dent. But that, you bring that, and you bring more than just income or money. You bring, right? That good spirit that, He's saying it.
Yeah.
And,
and how you treat people, you might just think, I'm trying to treat people the right way, how I want to be treated. But some people, wherever they're at in life, whatever circumstance they're in, that can mean much more to them than you think it does, and have such a much more powerful impact on them, and you don't even realize. You're like, okay, I don't feel like I really did anything, but just how you treated them, you did a good job with their car, you treated them with respect, you were on time, all that stuff, and they feel like personally like, wow, I've never been treated this good, and you're like, look, I don't, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't notice doing anything crazy, but it had an impact that I just wasn't anticipating. Sometimes that
Yeah.
it can happen like that.
Yeah, can bring them joy. Like I was watching Matt's video. That person goes through a struggle, like my wife, right? She has this dent, and then she has this great experience with me, of course, but the dent was gone, it was clean, and she feels this sense of joy and relief, and they look at you like, wow, what an asset, right? And it's like the whole combo. Like whoever comes here and sees this shop and see how you guys are and how you guys behave and communicate and the vibe and this, I mean, it speaks for itself. But still, you gotta put your best every day.
We had a guy that came in last week, and he said, my neighbor referred you. I immediately went to your Google page, and I saw all your reviews, and I was like, there's no way this guy has over 200 5-star reviews. And, like, he's doing something that's fake. Like, there's no way. Someone had a bad experience here. And he's going through them, and they're not there. I got 1 4-star last time I looked. But he's like, he's a skeptic. He's like, there's no way. He's like, he came here, and he didn't tell me that until after I fixed his dent. Like, I fixed his dent. And he was like, I was very skeptical. He's like, but now I get it. You're the real deal, and I'm giving you another 5-star. But like,
He didn't want to believe.
he didn't want to believe.
Yeah.
And because there's ways you can cheat Google, and you can have all your friends and family, fill out some kind of thing to build your Google reviews, and you can buy stuff. You can buy some of the reviews and all that stuff. Most of my stuff is to be dead honest, probably in the beginning, you probably have a couple family members do a Google review, but let's just say that accounts for 5 of them. Okay.
Right.
But all those other ones are, everything's organic. But those are, those are my reputation. And I point to him on the wall. I'm like, listen, man, I got signs in my lobby that every time we get 100 reviews, I build another sign. So the first 100, it says 100 5-star reviews, and the second one, 200 5-star reviews. And I'll do another one when we hit 300. Those are things I'm most proud of, because those are my reputation, right? Like it's better than your before and after pictures. Your before and after pictures are your reputation too, but that, you can cheat that. You can cheat before and after photos. Your reputation is someone else's opinion about you that you don't have control over them writing, and so you have to be on your toes when you're. I think it's really one thing that I learned being a business owner is how vulnerable you are as a business owner. Like that was never a thought. That was never a factor in running a business, is the vulnerability of it. And you have to be, you're super, super vulnerable. You're vulnerable because of what they can write on you. And one bad review can change from a 5-star to a 4.9. And it could be true, it could be not true. It could, we don't have a lot of control over, we don't have any control over what someone writes about us. And so you're vulnerable to every customer that walks through that door. Is I have to win this person if I want to maintain this high level status of my Google reviews or a reputation. Every customer is something you're trying to win, right?
Right.
And but going back to the vulnerable, let's just say they're not happy with the dent. Are you going to still charge them? Like, I'm not, because they can. No, sir, you owe me my money. Give me my money right now. And they could say, fine, here's your money, and then just go on and blast you with a Google review and get all their friends and family to blast you with a Google. And so was that worth it? Was that worth the money that you decide that on your own? But I'm saying to me, it's not. And you have to realize that you are super, super vulnerable as a business owner and treat that with care.
You got to make them, you got to say, my job is to make them happy. And hopefully that ends with money. Mm-hmm. Right? But if they aren't happy, I have to figure out how to make them happy.
Yes.
They're either not going to pay or whatever I have to do. At the end of the day, if you deal with me, my number one goal is to send you away happy.
It's crazy because it takes so much energy having the facts and the proof, like your business, to not believe than just really believe. It takes a lot of effort and energy and look for, let's say, when you know what I mean?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Okay, come on, man. Like, okay, there's people there. There's this kind of customers, right? Like the one that
skeptics.
Skeptics. Like the one that we were saying yesterday about the Mustang, the Shelby.
Yeah.
So, but when I go for a restaurant and eat, you look for the bad review. They say it had 4.5. You want to see why, if it was the waitress, or it was the food was not warm, or was the bathroom was dirty. So you make your choice dependent. Oh, it was an attitude, whatever. I just want to go there for the food. I really don't care. But in our side, the more complete is the better, because I can see the reviews. He was fantastic. He communicated all the time with me. The car looks outstanding. They post pictures. They just comment not only for the dent, but like you were saying, or how they were treated, the experience, the dropping off, delivering the car was clean. A lot of things they can comment, and they had that experience, and that just boosts everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that you got to be Superman. I mean, I think that's a misconception too, is like, I'm not out there detailing someone's car after I do a $150 dent repair to get a good Google review. Like, I don't do that. I'm not washing your car and vacuuming it out and make sure you're happy. I mean, of course there's things you can do to go above and beyond, but it's really just about doing what you said you were going to do and going about it in a professional manner. Like, I don't roll out the red carpet for everybody who walks through my door and say, please give me a good Google review. That's not it. I mean, and I have been stern with customers about price of things that we agreed upon, and they want to, I don't say argue, but you kind of have to have hard conversations about, sir, that's not what we. So I'm not saying you cower and have this, let them lord this thing over you. That's not it. But it's just doing what you said you were going to do for a fair price and being professional about it, looking professional, and putting everything you have into it. You don't have to overcomplicate it.
Right.
It's just be you. I mean, we have skulls hanging in my shop. I mean, people work here that have tattoos, and it's like the common misconception is you're going to push people away. That there's older folks who come in here and they're like, "What is this place?" And it's like, I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of the skulls hanging or the tattoos. I walked out this morning and greeted two elderly people that wanted me to look at a hail damage estimate before y'all got here, and they saw me and they both like my wife sees it all the time. She points it out. She's like, "Did you see how they were looking at you?" I'm like, "No," but it's a common thing to get this initial like, this guy looks like he's stealing my car. Not going to work on it, like that's. But I have to overcome those objections with how I talk to them and how my demeanor and being polite and then ultimately delivering what I said I was going to deliver, because that's really what they're going to judge me on at the end of the day is, did you do what you said you were going to do? And I always ask them, did I meet or exceed expectations? That's my kind of thing. I'm not always going to exceed expectations. You can only exceed so much if it's a little tiny door dent and you're here for 30 minutes. I mean, but like, did I meet or exceed expectations? And if I did, then I'm happy with that. And I haven't had anyone say no yet, because that's, I've worked really hard at that, trying to do that. But then as I scale, and you have other technicians who come into this, I can't control every situation. I can't control every interaction. I can't control every repair because I'm not doing those things, right? I'm not at my other shop with another technician who's greeting this customer and doing the dent and then checking them out and sending them on their way. So going back to this vulnerable thing, like, well, if I wanted to do every dent and greet every customer and answer every phone call and do every estimate and do every repair, and like, you can only do so much. So the more that you grow, the more vulnerable you become to other technicians making sure that they lock the door, and you're not going to show up tomorrow and have your whole shop emptied out with no tools in it because someone left the door open, which has happened. The door be left open, not the tool stolen. But but also their repairs, and we've come across that too from other technicians who've done subpar repairs, and it's got my name on it. Doesn't have their name on it. They were the technician who did it, but they don't know that. They know it was all out. And so anyhow, you find yourself becoming vulnerable in a way that you have to be cool with, but also really, really manage, almost over-manage in a way to make sure. I would say doing the dents is the easy part. It's the other part of the business that becomes the hard part that you have to control.
I agree.
Yeah.
Jonathan, there's some stuff in front of you on the table. What do you have here, man?
I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it, but since I saw it before, I was preparing us for the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like some stuff you found in prison.
Or made in prison.
Made in prison.
Yes, sir.
Exactly, right? That's the first thing I think when I grab this, like, oh, it brings me back. Okay. So this one, I think it looks better on my arm because I got it tatted right here. And it has the signature of my dad. So one time my dad dedicated, because this is my first tool ever that I was using this is the aluminum sheet. So this is from the last training. So what we usually, this is my dad's method. And back in the day, the technician, before starting the course or the whole class, they needed to take this home for a week and practice before, And of course, there was a visual test and all those things, background check. But, you put it, so here you have high spots, you got ridges, creases, and lows, like tiny little dents. So usually it's just to practice the dragging, technique. Of course, you get like a little bit like this, you put a little bit of tape, and it's just to set up how you can fit this tool in your hand. And it looks easy, but even now, it's kind of like you got to really set up your mindset and say, okay, how I'm going to grab it? I'm going to grab it here or just hold it here. Or it's like, and it takes a little bit to my son and the other kids that were in the class to really get the concept, right? Because if you can get this, then put a tool in your hand and it just becomes a little easier, but I'm not sure is that the case, but this is the way. And I think with this was the first before we did the knockdown with car Stucky El Padrino. So this one right here was the rectifier, and it says Industria Argentina, made in Argentina. So even this one, I didn't know that.
So what is this again?
So this is a knockdown, right? So you have 3 tips. When I saw this one, I was like, well, maybe we can do another version of it with different tips that you can, change. And that's how we did El Padrino. It has the more grip and it has the magnets, but it's the same concept. So I saw my dad using this in the classes sometimes without the hammer, just like, you know, knocking and pressing and moving your head, practicing everything that you learn in the beginner course at the same time, because the synchronizing of everything is what is hard. You can push, but if you're not moving your head at the same time, you're not seeing, so you're missing. So it's a combination. So this was kind of like the foundation of how you're going to build, because you're putting your light here. You know, sometimes you put it like here, you put it farther. So this is like the test, right? To really set them up for what is coming. Because they think like, okay, I think I can do it. But then they see in front of them the results. I did great. I did so bad, ugly, great again. Just repetition. And I remember my son bringing this home and practicing besides the classes, because he wanted to get it, and he felt that he was getting behind. And my dad was like taking his time with my son, but at the same time, you gotta practice more so you can join along the class. 3-week class, man, a little more, you know, for the last week. I put a little bit of glue pull in there, cold glue, and it was just such a blessing to see my dad. Okay, now you're gonna listen and watch and learn from Jonathan. That was, for me, it was like, wow. I look back and I see my dad just looking and you know, the guys looking and me showing them blending and pulling different methods and tabs, and it was just phenomenal, man. So I'm pretty sure you guys had one of this in your hand at one point. This was the first knockdown, pretty much, the Dent Wizard, when we started. So yeah, I was just showing a little bit of history, antiques, retro, vintage.
So this thing is like, when I learned, we had like a full-size master. So this is basically like a small version of that master. So this was this before the big version, or was there the big version? And did you?
I learned with
the
a big version too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this was kind of like to practice in between.
Okay.
So maybe at 18, I wasn't handling the master very good, and my dad is like, "Hey, grab this, practice with this first." But yeah, I remember because the position.
And I remember my thumb and my pointer finger would just raw after using that master. But at some point, Dent Wizard training went away. I don't think they train the master anymore. I think they just do knockdown.
Yeah. I used to see my dad slapping crowns and smiles with the master like crazy. And I couldn't believe how it wasn't doing nothing to a car. And just so many different techniques, you know? And
what do you, when you think about your dad, what do you think was his strongest point? I mean, obviously he was really good at being a technician, business, teacher. I mean, he was doing all these things. Like, what do you think was maybe it's everything, but like, what do you feel like he was the best at?
Teaching by far.
Really?
Yeah.
Even inventing tools. But it was teaching.
You think that's what he loved the most?
Yeah.
Wow.
He wanted to make sure that they were understanding. The first thing they said to the kids is, please don't be like the little dog they put in front of the cars that say yes and you're not understanding nothing. Ask questions. Ask questions. There's no stupid question. Ask questions. That's the way you retain, you learn. Don't be embarrassed. But even he was so passionate to give different examples about a tree, about the sun, bring everything so they can comprehend what they're doing. And I remember being in Dent Wizard and he was fixing this car and they were showing on the screen, on the monitor, but he was not looking on the panel. He was fixing the dent and looking on the screen at the same time. You know, he was looking at the dent on the screen. And so it's like, and all those things. It's like, wow, he really enjoy teaching, right? And seeing others succeed and getting what you're saying. So I guess his joy was to see me, getting all his everything that he taught me pretty much, and succeeding and bringing my best friend, my son, and hopefully my wife. And the other one, I think Anthony's more into boxing and stuff, but I think he will be a great person that can speak or sell, but we'll see. I'm very content at this point where we at, and I have a lot of things in mind and ideas and goals, but I want to just go slow, slow and firm and steady instead of like rushing. And so grateful to all the people that I have around me, that respect me, love me too, because who I am, not because of my dad, who he was.
What makes a good teacher is not the ability to communicate information, but the mark of a good teacher isn't the ability to communicate information. It's about the student being able to communicate that information back to you. So I guess there's like a Latin term when like a catechism. A catechism in religion is questions that I ask the class and then they answer back.
A memorized response.
Memorized response, right? And that comes from the Latin, which is to send out an echo, like a radar. You send this information out and it comes back. And that was the whole point of the catechism, is to send out this information and hear it come back to you. Because you can be the best communicator in the world as far as sending out information, right? There's lots of people who get up and speak publicly and talk and want to, whether or not you're a preacher or a politician, it doesn't matter. If you can send out information, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's a whole different skill set, right? That's just public speaking. But teaching is, did those students get that information, and are they able to articulate that back at me? And if they can, then you're doing your job as a teacher. You're actually teaching, because otherwise you're just
communicating.
You're just communicating, right? So that was interesting. You said that about your dad, asking questions, and he's wanting to make sure that they're getting it, because that's what makes a good teacher is, did they get what I just tried to say? Because it doesn't matter what you're teaching. Everyone in here has different language. Also say I teach you something in English. That doesn't mean you understood it and heard it. You know what I'm saying? So communication really depends upon, was the information I'm trying to tell you conveyed in a way that you get and grab and understand, and can you articulate it back to me? And now I've done my job as a teacher. Now I've taught you something. Otherwise, I've just told you something, right?
Big difference.
Big difference. And so that's cool that your dad really, that to me, that's the marks of a good teacher.
What do you feel like you have? What do you feel like you personally are really good at? Like within the realm of PDR, what do you feel like you're gifted at?
Blending.
Really?
Back in the day, I remember when I was in a storm, this friend of mine that gave me an opportunity, Brandon from Dents on Demand, he, back in the day was not very, it was still using a lot of knockdowns. We still do, but I was blending and trying because I saw it before, and he was really surprised, and I got more into it, and I think I got pretty good at it. And as, makes you, I don't know, it's certain things that you like more than others. I mean, I love hail. You know, I love doing hail. I love to do sometimes a really beat up hood that they're gonna replace it, but it's back in order, and it's an expensive hood, or maybe not. Maybe the price is there, but maybe you take it as something personal and you just do it. You know, I like challenges, and of course, if you go to work in a dealer and you're gonna be there and just doing the same car over and over, sometimes it gets a little boring, whatever. But if you're doing retail in your shop and you get different cars and there's so many dents, right? So many different models and axes and techniques that you gotta apply, so you can't really get bored or complacent too much. You always gotta do different things, right? In the back of an SUV and every truck, there's a different angle, different axis. So for me, it's fun, and I love it. I enjoy it, and I think blending. I really love blending. I love pushing. I love pulling, but blending is. This last storm, we were taking a lot of doors off as well. It was really bad hail, so I got my good friend that he's phenomenal R&I. Super grateful for that, and I see a lot of technicians that they don't. When they come to that point, it's like, oh no, I don't want to do this, and they kind of set the limit. I remember when we went to Porsche. We have a guy who was taking the doors, and sometimes we used to take the doors off, but the Russians, they didn't want to do that. They want to just so it's a different mindset that you got to really apply in every circumstance that you can, right? Not only rush and just cut corners. I saw so many things, man, and I've been in storms too that it's like, please save this car, and sometimes you got to say no. And even Tom told me, if you never say no, they're going to always bring you some biscuit. And sometimes it's okay, but it affects your brain if there's always like a very heavy hit car, one after the other. You feel that you're not progressing, you feel no relief. So, a little bit of the dynamic needs to be there. But I even these new cars, man, that we're doing, it's fun. Texas hail and Oklahoma can be tough, but it builds you more. And then you go another state and you work, a light hailstorm. You just fly through it. I think it's like these big repairs that these guys are doing. Incredible Hulk here and He-Man. I mean, it's just extraordinary, man. Yeah. I'm full of admiration, genuinely saying. I'm honored to be part of this industry. It keeps growing and just exceeding and in awe every time.
What do you think, as far as the skill set, was the hardest thing for you to learn? Do you remember something being more difficult? Was it the light, or was it? We're thinking about people who are getting started in their PDR journey, who may be in a spot where they're struggling with something. For me, it was a whale tail. That was hard. That was really hard to use whale tail.
Thinking that axis and whale tails, maybe, could be that. Could be that axis. And, you're doing a hood and you really don't know how to get to that dent over there, or axis, and, finding my tip too.
Yep.
Finding my tip, it was hard for me, man.
Yep.
At the beginning, it was freaking hard.
Yeah.
That's why maybe I just throw everything for a few times this out in front of me. Let me go skate and surf, and then finding this tip thing in here. But thankfully, man, even in the doors, right, with the master, finding that tip over there. And once you find it, you think it's there and you're already on the other spot. And that funny story from that guy that was kind of chubby, and my dad was teaching him, and he could never see the tip of his tool. And my dad couldn't understand because his vision was good, but then he realized that his cheek would it was blocking him from seeing, because his cheek, when he goes upside down, it was on his eye like that. he could never see the clarity of what he was doing. So he was always saying that story. It's like, okay, now we found out why you couldn't see it.
Did your dad invent that stance? Like, did he come up with that upside down stance?
He did. Yeah. Yeah, he did. It was kind of robust in that era too, you know. He wasn't big, but he was kind of robust. And I was like, and then when I went to do hail and just do the normal position as we do from the side, it was hard for me to see guys doing it. Hard to comprehend because I've been doing it so upside down for so long. Now I barely do upside down, to be honest with you. I just do, you know, the side.
Yeah.
I got used to already a long time ago. But yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it's just because the control, the theory was that your elbow, you want to have it close to your body.
Yeah, biomechanically, it makes sense.
Right.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, you get your eyes down, you get really good leverage and tool control. Like, biomechanically, I think it makes sense, but I think it becomes harder, you know, depending on what kind of shape you're in or your age, unless you've been doing it for a long time in that position and your body is accustomed to that. Then that can be hard. You know, someone new who's getting into it, who's later in age or larger physique, like that could be difficult.
Yeah. I still feel some pain. Remember I was telling you yesterday, I'm not sure if it's from the upside down. It could be, though, on this side.
I went to the chiropractor, and I was all jacked up on my right shoulder and my left lower back, and it was because this weird position that I'm always in, working on a driver's side of a door. I'm always in this weird position where this shoulder is a lot of power being, you know, driven through my shoulder, and my back is really compressed in this weird thing. And he looked at me and he's like, "This is weird. It's your right shoulder and your left lower back." And I'm like, "Well, that makes sense." And I showed him the position I get in. He's like, "Ah, well, there you go." But it's just years of being in these weird manipulated positions. You're trying to, and it's not that you're just in the position. It's that you're trying to be powerful in that position. You know, whether or not it's your stance or your arms and then it's duration. Like, how long are you going to be in that position? Is it 5 minutes or is it an hour and a half or whatever? And so I still feel better. I think my body is just used to this job now. And like, I'll go to like tournaments for my son's wrestling or jiu-jitsu, and just standing there at these tournaments, I get more wore out physically just standing there neutral than I do at work in these positions. And I think it's just because my body knows these positions. It doesn't know static standing there. And I get way more fatigued. And I got to sit down and stretch my back, and it's just not comfortable. I'd much rather be at work fixing dents, physically speaking. It's just my body knows it.
Jonathan, is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to talk about that we missed?
Or questions for us?
You work out besides jiu-jitsu?
I would say not regularly, very intermittently. I've got a full kind of gym at my house. We've got pull-up bar here. We've got jiu-jitsu mats here. And so I have no excuses, but I don't work out regularly. I should be more. I try to do some body weight stuff every day, you know, just to stay. But, you know, I was really trying to get into more weight training this year, which I started doing, but it's hard to stay consistent. But so the answer would be no.
Because that neck over there was not built overnight. That's something there. Like,
If he gets determined to start working, he puts on muscle fast.
Right.
That neck gets thick fast.
yeah.
He drinks like he'll be like, if he's working out, he'll drink like a gallon of milk a day. So he puts it on fast.
Gallon whole milk. I don't do that now, but you turn your poop white. But I think the neck, because people talk to me about my neck. It's a big neck. That I think it was from wrestling. I wrestled 9th grade,
Right.
but only for one season. It's not like but we would do lots of neck exercises that year. I remember we always worked out our neck
Back in the day.
for my 9th grade year. I mean, we were doing some, where like I would hold your head and you would lean into me, kind of like a plank, and I would just hold you, lean you down to an angle, and you would just have to hold those plank positions with only your head supported. I guess that's where I got it. I don't know. It's hard to buy dress shirts because they never fit my neck from my arm length.
That's badass.
So I gotta like get the
love it.
little extender,
Yeah.
and then you hide it with your tie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I got
my
this
back
long
is big, and I'm not too muscular, but when I was young, always doing pull-ups since early ages, and I can tell my back just got that cobra thing right away.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to really. But it's cool. I mean, working out for me, it was a channel that got used in my life after. That's something maybe I skipped, but I wasn't sure I was going to talk about. I'm not embarrassed of what happened to me because that chapter in my life is in the past, and so many stories from all those scars when I went to jail for 2 weeks only, but I went to rehab and detox, and getting out of there, working out was one of the things that really lift me up,
Yeah.
Investing in myself. I was so abandoned and just got used that to mentally and physically go back to me and being, encouraged and proud of me and just feeling alive again. So I try not to skip because, I want to be able to, if I'm 65, to move and be active and dynamic and hopefully. So I keep it simple: pull-ups, dips, push-ups, variations, sometimes a little bit of weight. But man, it's admiring. I mean, the jiu-jitsu, I always wanted to get into it. Like I was asking you yesterday.
It'll beat you up, man. Like, I've broken in the past, not through jiu-jitsu, but I've broken my hand, both my wrists, my leg, both my ankles,
Dude.
all skateboarding, snowboarding. So my joints are weak there. I roll my ankle all the time just from walking off an uneven step, because they've just been destroyed. And then when I got into jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu is trying to find the weakest link in your body composition, and it'll find it really quick. And it found those in me, my wrists and my ankles, and I every time I was coming home from jiu-jitsu, I would be hurt. And
Every time.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it's hard because you show up to an open class where there might be 20 people in there, and you don't know who's going to show up today, and you're getting fresh young kids, and I say kids being 20s and 25, or even like my kids' age, that are 16s, 15, 16, who are just monsters, who are youthful and monsters and physically impressive, as far as, and have experience, and who are athletes now. And I'm just this 48-year-old man who's trying to be healthy. And these guys are coming here young and trying to prove something.
But they see experience in you. They see that.
Well, they can see all they want, but then they start trying to be, they have something to prove. I don't have nothing to prove. I'm not trying to get a trophy at the end of the night where they show up and they want to, they want to go home with a story about they tapped out some guy it's very easy. You get in, I've been really, the most people you get hurt by are the newer young people, in my opinion, who are coming in, who have something to prove, have an ego, and I got my ankle audibly popped, where you hear it. And, I got to work. We were talking about, like, how do you pop your ankle or your back is locked up and then tomorrow I gotta work on a Rivian for the rest of the week. You know,
Smash.
like, or in those weird positions where you're trying.
Got to roll the mats with a Rivian.
And it's like I have to really balance that. And I'm not trying, and I'm not, that could come off as an excuse and whatever, however you want to take it. But it's just, I have a job and I'm a sole provider. My wife does not work outside of this business. And to jeopardize that for a hobby is, I think is irresponsible in some way. I mean, I want to be healthy. I want to be fit, but I also need to maintain this business and those reviews. And so, it's just a fine line for that jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's a combat sport, and you will get injured. You know, I've had my ribs popped out, not out of my body, but like they're out of place and pop back in, and it's an audible thing, and you hurts like a mother.
How long to recover that?
It recovers pretty quick, but you're sore for a while. It's just your rib. You get in some weird bend, and your rib it'll just pop out, and you don't know what happened. It's a weird feeling, but all these little weird things, you know, getting neck cranked and not being able to like turn, you know, like you're looking like Batman, you're turning. And so it was like, man, so there's just this, you're trying to stay fit, but also you got to balance that with being capable the next day. So, and then same with kind of weight training, is I'm trying to do more weight training, but it's just the time to do that, and that's just an excuse, and there's no way around that. Lately it's been hot. I don't have a lot of AC in my garage, so when I'm been in my shop all day and it's blazing hot and I get home, I'm not super eager to go in my garage and lift weights for an hour and a half. I mean, that's just what it is, and so again, I know those are excuses, and you make time for what's important to you, and I just haven't made the time to do that. So I try to do body weight stuff and just to keep me mobile and limber, but I need to do more time to that.
Yeah, but you can tell that you were a guy that you worked out. You look good still, you know, and you look healthy. You look strong. So that's why I ask. But we were talking with James yesterday. He told me if I don't knock it out in the beginning of the day, for me, he was telling me, right, the days I need to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what I do too, and sometimes some weeks I struggle. Just eat a banana, a little bit of coffee, water, just go and do it. And after the first 3-5 minutes, I feel, okay, I can do this 40 minutes. I don't need to be like my son is an hour and a half in the gym. 45 minutes is fine. Do some rocking or whatever, just body weight. But man, you know, you're an inspiration to many people. Looking at your family, your business, your character, it brings something. You know, it's a genuine compliment. It's hard to describe, but it's you're a good, solid example man. Not only technician, and you know, is somebody that looks up to you, and I look up to you. You know, that's why I took my dad to introduce you, and you can see the picture. He's happy. He's like, relax. He's good, and it's like, oh, he didn't say nothing like, who's this person? What are you taking me? That wasn't good. It felt good. You know, see your family, see your wife and your business and everything. I was like, that's cool. That was all about my dad, family oriented, Christian, solid person. And yeah, I don't remember nothing else. Probably I will later, you know, but it was awesome experience.
Dude, it's been awesome hanging out. We got to hang out yesterday for a while. It's been great, man. Pleasure.
I'm going to wrap it up with a really cool story.
Okay.
Quick.
I want to talk about something else.
Okay.
When you're done.
So going back to your skateboard. All right, let me think about that thing.
Okay.
Still. So the same time when I was in Australia, the same condo, when that first year we got there, right out front of our condo is this huge river walk. It's awesome. People running, people skateboarding every day, like busy, you know, it was an awesome place. so me and my brother and Will, we all like, we're gonna go buy skateboards. We're gonna skateboard every day, just longboard down this river walk. And I mean, you could go for hours and hours. Like it was just endless trails. And so we all go buy longboards, and we're like, this is sick. And so we right out. So the river walk was out the back, but out front was this huge hill, just huge hill. And so let's go bomb that hill. I mean, we just got them. We haven't even really rode these things. Let's go bomb this hill.
Can't resist.
No, you can't resist it. And so we walk out front, and we're like, we're kind
All
of
three of y'all?
Yeah, we're hyping each other up. And I look, and this guy's coming up the hill as fast as possible on a skateboard. And I'm like, what the heck is this?
Oh, the opposite.
He's coming up. He's got an electric skateboard. He had an Evolve electric skateboard. I'm like, oh my gosh. He's just flying up at like 20 miles an hour up this huge steep hill. And I'm like, that I've never seen before. Like, that's amazing. And so I end up buying one. So I got an electric skateboard. It goes 25 miles an hour. It's pretty awesome. But I had to, I bought it. Well, that company's there, founded in Australia, which is a really cool company, really cool brand. But so anyhow, we kind of all look at each other like, what did I just witness? This, this is very strange. This skateboard going uphill 20 miles an hour. But so we get on ours, and we're kind of getting ready to bomb this thing. And listen, man, I know my limits. And I jump on this thing, and it starts going fast, and I can see where it's going. And so I bail and kind of run it out, really quickly. I'm like, I don't want this heat because it's fast. And Will, he was on one of those Carver boards.
Will Garcia.
Yeah, I had like a Globe, like a really fast push kick board. And Will had one of these like really like surfer carver boards.
Right.
And so he goes down this hill, and he's just carving down the whole. He's not bombing it.
Yeah.
He's just really, edge to edge carving this thing.
Like snowboarding.
He can maintain it really slow. My brother, he's got another longboard like me. And so he just bombs this thing. And I watch him, and he's just getting faster and faster.
Oh.
So he was the last one. So
You
I
were
was
at the top, or you were
I was down. I was already down kind of midway where I ran it out, and I'm like, and Will's kind of taking off, and then I see my brother come down, and he's just going straight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I see him get speed wobbles, and the wobbles are, how speed wobbles, they start slow, and then it gets, and dude, he just Supermans on his belly.
No.
like in the middle,
Right in the middle of the road.
Oh, no.
Just Superman's down his belly, on his belly down this thing. And we're dying laughing.
no.
I mean, there's people on a park bench like watching us, and we're just dying laughing. I mean, listen, he was scraped up. I've been skateboarding my whole life, and so I know what's funny and what's really an injury.
when you cross the line.
No, he was just scraped up. But dude, he just Superman down this thing. I want to say it had to be 15, 20 yards of just belly. Yeah. And he gets up and his knee, he got water on his knee, and his knee was all huge and swollen. His kneecap was floating, you know? And he had to go to the hospital and get it looked at.
Oh, no.
So we're like, well, I guess we're going to go out the back from now on. But yeah.
That's great.
But I ended up buying one of those Evolve skateboards from, I got it from Ron John Surf Shop, which is a huge surf shop down in Cocoa.
Yeah,
They had one, their distributor.
Yeah.
And my wife got it for me for Christmas that year.
They
I
still
always thought
works.
you brought that home from Australia.
I wanted to, but they wouldn't let the lithium batteries on the plane. You have to take them out and do something, because they're big. You know, like they'll let your cell phone or like a little Milwaukee battery, but like these big ones, these big battery packs, they don't want them on the plane. And the charger wouldn't have worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I could buy one here, but it's not cheaper. and then I got to get it home, and then I got to deal with a battery, and then I got to get a charger. So I found one in Cocoa, and I was just like, oh, I'm just going to get it here instead of, and then you got to ship the whole thing from Australia or in your luggage, which was carbon fiber, and I'm like, I don't. So I just bought one here, so everything works and all that stuff. But man, those things are cool. Fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Totally. I know that. You let me know where that hill is when I go to Australia. I might just go visit.
It's right out front of the conduit, right at the base of Story Bridge.
Just to see it.
You might see some skin.
Mark's blood.
Some blood or skin in the asphalt right there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if you keep going, we eventually learned how to do it. You know, we kind of build up the hill instead of bombing it from the top. And then it just empties out, like goes straight into the river walk, man, and you can just go for miles around that place. It was really, really fun times there that year.
So usually we pull a tool off the wall at the end to talk about, but so I was on the Smash Masters podcast this past week, and we told them, so we kind of announced it's public now that we're doing a beginner's course.
Sweet.
Matt's the teacher. I filmed it and I'm editing it, and we're doing like a full PDR beginner's course. And so I showed Jonathan just a little bit of one of the videos yesterday. So we should have that thing done hopefully by the end of the year. If not, then by MTE. But we're pumped about that. So if you know somebody that's wanting to try to get into learning and they want to start somewhere like that, we're going to be available soon. And really, there are some very cheap options to do this, to learn PDR like via video, but we're not trying to be the cheapest, but we're trying to be the best option for this beginner's course. I mean, we're really trying to put, a lot of quality into the production of it, the editing of it. It's taking a long time because we're really trying to do a good job with it. I think Matt is one of the best teachers at this. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to help a lot of people get into it. What were your just first impressions of what you saw?
Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. I mean, the things that he was saying, the angles on the camera, and just not only the effects, but how he is explaining, and he's pulling into, even if you're watching on the screen, he's bringing you right there. I don't know. I think it's just so cool. It's just so cool, man, to see you guys, like, the industry needed something like this, and whoever comes after, it was just going to get better and better. These conversations are edifying. This is not only entertainment.
Yeah.
And that thing is a must. That beginner course explaining so many things. Even for us already experienced, you see something different that he does, and it's like, that's even helpful for me right now. And just to watch how you guys do it, it's just attracting, it's good, man. It's good. Happy for you guys.
We've got most of the videos for the beginner course are already done. We just got to get the real hosting of it figured out. And once the hosting platform is there, then it should go pretty quick as far as releasing it to the public. And we got that.
He's waiting on me to edit. That's what
well, most of the editing's done.
I'm praying for you, bro.
Well,
not really.
Okay.
I think you
guys are doing a lot behind the scenes, man.
10 videos are done. We have 15 videos in the course, and then 4 bonus videos. So I have 9 more to edit. But yeah, it's going fast.
Badass James.
Yeah.
Sitting there and just grinding, man. That's a hard work. And you got training coming here to the shop too?
Yeah.
People.
So we do either beginner training here or advanced. I'm not trying to do what Bryce is doing, meaning that Bryce has his niche of type of training. I would say mine's more someone who's not prepared to go to Bryce yet or has the money to throw at that.
Yeah.
That's a large commitment of time and and money to go do that. And you should do it. I would recommend doing it. But there are some people who probably not, they're not at the stage of their PDR journey where they should go do it. Honestly, if you're only a couple years in and you just need that next gear, then we're trying to have something here for you that we can facilitate that. I mean, I would say Bryce's is more of like, super advanced, large, complicated repairs. And again, I think you should go do Bryce's, but you need to do it when you're ready to do it, so just baby steps to that. And so we're doing like intermediate advanced training. I have a few guys coming here before the end of the year for those are week-long trainings. Those type of trainings I try to do daily. So you could come here and do 2 days with me. If that's all you need, or we can do a week or 6 days, depending upon where you're at and what you want, where you want to go. So, because let's just face it, I mean, if you're a PDR guy, then you probably have a business, you probably have maybe retail, or you got clients, and maybe you can't pull away for a week.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't need to go as deep with Bryce, or you don't have the time vested. But maybe you're like, okay, I got 2 days, I can shoot over there, I can learn some things that'll just get me that next step, that next level, and still kind of maintain your business and your income.
Yeah.
Because it can be a lot. I mean, just loss of income for that week can be hard.
Yeah.
There's things you need to factor when you go do those long trainings, is how much that training costs, and then what is the income loss and the expenses to get there, and that can add up. And so that's why we decided to do it more daily, depending upon where the technician is at and what they're looking to get done. So anyhow, I have a couple scheduled for the last part of the year.
You usually do it in the winter. You try to.
It's better. My shop gets hot. I'm gonna put AC in it here next year.
Well, that's cool.
But right now it gets hot, and it's busy during the summer for me. I mean, it's hard for me to take a week off or a couple of days off because we have wholesale accounts that we got to manage.
Right.
And it's hard to devote time to that. And so when it's winter and it's slowing down, maybe they're slower with their business and they can afford to do that a little bit. In my business, I can back off a little bit. And so, yeah, the end of the years, the fall is usually a little bit easier. And then we get into January, February, and it's just MTE, and that can be crazy. So, yeah, these 2 next months are pretty good for that. But, yeah.
Dude, I just wanted to say, you're your dad's son, but like the first time I met you, I think Matt introduced me to you at an MTE, and I mean, from the immediately meeting you, you were super warm, welcoming. I mean, I've loved who you are since the first time I met you. So I really think that you're your father's son, but you're just a completely different person and bring such a different and awesome set of strengths to this business and this industry. And you're just very encouraging and generous guy. And if you don't know Jonathan, just you would be very blessed if you did. And he's very he's very generous with his time, and he'll love to talk to you at MTE or wherever. So dude, I really appreciate you. We really appreciate who you are.
Thank you,
Yeah,
James. I love you, brother. Thank you. Humble about it, because it's so much, to see. Now this coming MT is going to be different, of course. But this week, I'm going to be able to go see my brother tomorrow. It's his birthday. He has 3 options. My dad told him, you can be trained by Johnny, you can be trained by by Tom Price, or Heriberto, which is another technician that my dad trained. Heriberto is a monster too. So I think probably he's going to go with Heriberto because he lives here in Orlando. So, but what else can I say, man? Just being surrounded by good people, you can see the goodness of God. you know, in so many ways. And like we were saying, shout out to these 3 special women in my life. My beautiful wife, which I call my precious gift. My mom, true warrior, Mama Bear, loving. And my sister, I love you so much, it hurts. Thank you, everybody, for watching and being with us. And it was good. And now, probably, hopefully, we're going
to go shoot some guns.
We're not going to roll the mask. We're going
to shoot some guns. That's right.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, James.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Marcio.
Yep, we appreciate you, man.
See y'all next time.
Next time.
Ciao, ciao.
The Dent Slayer, Matt Boyette. Thank you so much for being here.
She's smooth.